Hey, this is Zepp, and on behalf of the guys, Stru, Boomer, and Lukey, we want to thank you for downloading and listening to our podcast of The Ticket Outdoors, brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm. And remember, when nothing's going right, just go fishing.
For Father's Day, get Dad gifts from his favorite store, Fleet Farm. Dad will feel like a king on the Cloud 9 hanging lounge chair, $158.88. The Berkeley Deluxe Electric Filet Knife Kit is $39.99. A DeWalt 20-volt drill driver kit is $99. Dad can do some serious cooking on a Traeger Little Tex Elite Grill, $599.99. And can't decide? Fleet Farm gift cards make great gifts.
It's time for Ticket Outdoors on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
All right, there we go. We can turn Boomer's mic up a little bit more tonight because Boomer is out gallivanting. Neither business, pleasure, right? Not business. I mean, he's out on a good time.
He's on the East Coast. He doesn't need a microphone. He's in Virginia Beach.
Oh.
He's going to go, here's tonight's lake report from Virginia Beach.
We're going to get a lake report out of Boomer tonight. We'll do that at the end of the program. Welcome to Ticket Outdoors. Yeah, there's the wild card. You heard him. He's already elevating the volume.
I am.
And then our producer, Mark Lukey, sitting in on the microphone tonight. So we're expecting a lot out of you, Mark, to carry the show, really. You'll be our first guest, actually.
There we go. Mark Lukey.
Yeah, there it is, right there. Well, guys, how was everyone's week since last we spoke?
We are so blessed to be living. Now, you're healthy, right? I'm healthy. You're healthy. Our families are healthy. Everything's, and we get a chance. We wake up in the morning and we say, okay, we can make a living, pay a few bills, make a few bucks, and do stuff. Because it could be gone.
The coffee's cold.
I apologize for making that coffee too strong.
Oh, that was a strong cup of coffee.
But the highlight for Mark and I, you saw the videos.
Oh, right. Everybody's got a boat but Brian.
Yeah, no. It's our boat is your boat.
I fished from the public access dock in White Bear yesterday morning.
Have you got a trailer hitch on that beautiful Dodge you have out there?
I do, yeah.
All right.
I told you I'm going to come hitch it up sometime.
Is it inch and 7/8? That's what the ball is on this trailer.
I saw well, I've got a couple of them in there. So for all occasions, but yeah, I saw some of the videos that you were sending. The christening I thought was especially a nice touch. And a Stru original. I hope that went up on the Ticket Outdoors page. Yeah, good. Our Facebook page. Check it out there, Ticket Outdoors.
I was going to do the
especially eloquent,
Caddyshack.
Yeah,
the Caddyshack one.
It's something.
When everybody's going wrong.
After your pants are too tight in the shorts.
But anyway, so a lot of you folks already know that I'm a cheap son of a bitch, and Mark's not too far behind me. But I happen to, one of my great clients, Don and Brenda Hack.
By the way, can I interrupt? There's a difference between being cheap and broke.
I'm cheap, he's broke.
Drive on.
Anyway, so I haven't cashed a check yet either, but one of our clients, Don,
Friday,
we had a chance to sell a property in Spooner Lake on Cyclone Lake. Don and Brenda Hack, wonderful people.
I don't know that one. Cyclone.
It's a small lake, only 80 acres, no public access. And what's cool about, I had a chance to meet Don last year and Brenda maybe 2 years ago and helped him with real estate. And they're going to sell. He was superintendent of schools of the Spooner school system. And so he says, listen, I got a better job, you think? And he's got the job at Spring Valley, Wisconsin, doing the same thing, superintendent of schools. So he asked me to help market his property. We're putting it together, and fortunately, and he's got this boat up there. I apologize. And he's got this boat, and I said, what are you going to do with it? You're not living on a lake anymore. He said, well, I don't know. I'll probably sell it. I said, what's it worth? He said, I don't know, $2,000. I don't know. I don't even check that kind of. Does it float? If it's got a motor and a trailer, it's got to be worth $2,000. So it's a 1970 something Sea Sprite. It's a deck boat. New decking, new carpeting, new seats. It's got a trim, the power trim.
Power trim, of course.
And 70 horse Johnson.
A 70 Johnson, which is kind of legendary and
perfect.
I've only seen the photos, but really a sharp-looking boat. I wasn't familiar with the Sea Sprite, but it's
I don't think anyone is.
It has that vintage look, obviously.
Well, it's no longer the Sea Sprite, now it's the USS Ticket Outdoors.
All right.
There you go. So anyway, we thought, so Mark and I jumped in. Mark, trust me, man, he bought a boat unseen. So he and I threw in a grand apiece, and we bought it, and I brought it to Chautauqua, and Mark brought his wife up and his little kid Nicholas to the cabin for the weekend. My son Mike was up there, and because we wanted Mike to be there because he's the mechanic.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you want to come join us?
Yeah, hey, come on, let's go fishing, whatever. But so we christened. It rained all day Saturday. It was a mess, but I said, listen, we're here. We're going to do this. And my granddaughter Allie, who is 11, said, I'm tubing. I don't care if it's snowing. I'm tubing because she's been tubing behind the boat. Behind the pontoon the last couple of years, going, oh, this is fun.
I've taken the girls out tubing in the rain many times, and that's what I mean. You're in the water.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah. And anyway, so it started perfectly. It runs perfectly. It's a piece of cake, and it's a wonderful boat. And so I can't wait for Mark. So my son Mike, who's a general contractor, I called him today. He says, "What are you doing? Are you working?" Not really. He's putting rod holders on the boat. He's got he's putting my sonar phone, Vexilar sonar phone. He's doing all kinds of things. And he's on the lake right now. Mike, go work and make some money, would you? So we're pretty excited about it. So anyway, Zep, anytime you want to use that boat, it's only what do you say? 150 a weekend? You said?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I will forfeit my Ticket Outdoors fee.
Yeah.
Small percentage of it.
That was our highlight. Then the other highlight for me, I took 25 people to tour Target Field, and if you haven't done it, I'm telling you, you got to do it. The engineering and the technology and whatnot to build that thing is amazing.
Yeah.
It is so first class. And it's these ball players are very pampered human beings.
I haven't. Well, I mean the patrons, those of us, the sports fans, the Twins fans are pretty spoiled. I mean, I had they weren't my tickets. The radio station down the hall's tickets, I think, are on the third deck. Which, by the way, I love being up on the third deck with those folks. You're looking downtown. The KQ folks are up there, and we're having a good time. But I've been invited with some buddies that had in the Legends, and I think the other one's Champion.
Right, it is a Champion, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you go down there, and there's white linen tablecloths. There's a guy walking around with wine and glasses.
There are only 475 members of the Champions Club, and that is the lower level of the Target Field. And they have, when you go down there, every game there's, like he was saying, white linens. They have chefs. They have lobster, shrimp, crab legs, and it's all you can eat, and everything's included, even cocktails. But in order to become a member of the Champions Club, I think it's about $25,000 a year.
Yeah.
Just in that is
I haven't
whatever
been down
it is.
I've been down to Legends where they have the leather seats and you dash through and there's the good chow in there. But I mean, come on. I mean, a hot dog and some beer, right? And that's what we need to get through a game. It does seem like it overdoes it a little, but hey, whatever pays the bills for that extravagant payroll the poll lads are paying for those Twins players. Although you can't bitch this year. They're in a little bit of a slide right now, battling those National League teams. But
again, you've got to do it. And whether you're a baseball fan or not, just to tour this facility is amazing. It only costs $4 a piece.
I haven't been down. Now, the tour would be cool because I've been to the stadium many times, and it's a lot of fun to sit out there on a nice sunny day and watch a little baseball, the great American pastime. But I haven't been down to check out, like, the locker rooms must be pretty sweet.
And all the talking about how many miles of wiring down there. And what's really cool, you may not, didn't even think about this. We've all been to the old Met Stadium and the old Humpty Dome, whatever the hell it was called, right? And
have you been to the Met Stadium there, youngin?
Nope. That was gone before.
Anyway, you may not even think about this, but there's never any kegs going to these bars and these places up on top where they're selling beer. Everything is downstairs, and all these tubes run to each one of these bars and each one of these beer things, and they've got it all marked as to what goes where and when, and there's never anyone pushing beer kegs throughout the concourse like there used to be every stadium we've ever been to.
This is high-tech getting buzzed.
I gotta tell you one more thing about it because I think it's really cool. They built this 10-acre stadium on an 8-acre parking lot. They knocked down some things around it. Mm-hmm. So they only have 8 acres of land. They've got to build a 10-acre stadium. What they had to do is buy airspace from the railroad so they could build part of the stadium over the railroad with, pylons or whatever over the train. So part of this stadium goes over the railroad tracks. They only have 8 acres of land. The rest of 2 acres is suspended over airspace. How do you buy airspace?
Engineers. That's why I told my daughters, hook up with an engineer. These guys
don't be an engineer. Hook up.
Don't be. That's a lot of work, and you got to have the brain in your head. And sorry, we're Zeps. I didn't give you that.
The model of the stadium that we saw is smaller than what we're looking at right now. What do you call this? A board?
A desk?
Yeah, a desk.
Yeah, sure.
It's small. It's probably 4 feet by 5 feet, but it's a working model of the entire target field. I mean, lights and everything, scoreboards. It cost $167,000 to build that.
You know what? That's a great idea. The tour, and I know you invited me. I ended up getting stuck out in Wisconsin for the day.
No, you ended up getting laid.
I had a nice day out there, but I've been, like I said, I've been to a lot of games, but the tour, has got to be a whole.
Very cool.
Do the
Only
tour.
an hour and a half. You've got to.
How much did you say it cost?
$4 a piece.
Wow.
They want 25 on a tour. You get 25 people, $100, and it's about an hour and a half, and it's well worth it. The stuff you see and hear, you think you can't. It's really, really. It's very, very impressive. So that was all about me and something about Mark and nothing about Zepp. How was your week, my friend?
Good. It was a busy weekend. I had a lot of fun doing stuff. Some of it was work. We got Sid the Kid graduated last Friday, so that's it. I'm an empty nester, boys and girls. So that was a lot of fun, going through that whole thing. And then I did a little fishing, got out yesterday and went up to White Bear and, just kind of pitched it off the dock a little bit. Here's the thing. I brought up my crankbaits and I was dragging the plastic worms along the bottom and jigging and the whole thing. And I had stopped and I'd been doing some live bait, different times this year already, but I went when I was going to go in and get some minnows and jig some minnows. And I thought, I'm just going to get the old night crawlers. I'm just going to get the little, pint of night crawlers there. And I took those out and I threw them on the bobber, did the old Tom Sawyer, throw it out on the bobber, and, dropped, the worm a little bit deeper out there because, as Boomer told me, they're starting to get out of the shallows now. The water temperature is getting warmer.
They're getting out of the shallows now.
They're out of the shallows, so I went a little bit deeper out there and unfolded the chair, and one after another.
Oh, fun.
Why aren't we using worms and bobbers anymore?
Right. Fun.
I've got a big old tackle box full of stuff I may never open up and more plastics than I know what to do with. But I just got a night crawler and a bobber and about a number 4 hook and dropped it out there and caught one smallie after another. I couldn't even sit back in my lawn chair. I was so busy and grabbed some feeders. So we'll have a little fish fry here for the girls.
Speaking of fish fry, Strewman came home with 25 crappies and sunfish this weekend.
Ooh, yeah. I had a good week down at Spring Lake with those black crappies down there. Where were you at?
At the cabin in Chetek, in the lake that Boomer says there's no fish. Prairie Lake and the Chetek chain.
If Boomer says there's no fish, I'll race you to
it. Something really bothers me. Our Robert John Lind got 30 days. And I'm surprised about that. Robert John Lind?
I'm sorry.
Oh, he's the gentleman. No, he's the gentleman who deposited some human half and half into his ex-girlfriend's coffee cup.
Yeah. I recall.
30 days. Right. 30 days.
And by the way, he was just trying to meet her. He was just awkward, socially awkward. That's what he said. He was trying to meet her. I'm like, well, you're going to be the her when you go to jail, and someone's going to meet you. But yeah, a real messed up.
He tried to get her attention. I think he did so. 30 days. Only got 30 days.
No, that doesn't seem right. But maybe they'll keep an eye on him or get him into something where he can talk to somebody. Yeah, you don't want him in your group either, because what do you do in those groups? You drink coffee. It's just, keep an eye on him right over there. I'll bring mine in a thermos. Thank you.
Mark, what was your highlight this weekend, the last couple of days, huh?
Well, just christening our new boat. I mean, that was a lot of fun. I don't get out much these days, and it was just great.
His son, Nicholas, it's Nicholas. I call him Nick. You want to be Nicholas?
I call him Nicholas. When he's little.
He's only not even 3 years old, 2.5. This kid
Nicholas
is smart.
He'll grow up to be a Nick.
Yeah, he's very smart, and he's
Mom call him Nicky?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
And what I love about it, I think I could have been the perfect, if I was the perfect parent. No, I wasn't the perfect parent. My kids are.
There is no such thing.
But Mark's doing a good job, because I loved it when we're at dinner and Nicholas is crying and pissing and moaning about stuff, and Mark didn't give a rat's ass. You having a problem? Is there a problem here? Well, that's too bad. It was kind of fun. Like, okay, don't patronize these
I learned that from my pop.
Is that right?
Hey guys, before we hit the break here and talk about the show, summer is here. I don't care what the calendar says. We all know it's here. So whether you're going on a road trip or just going to the store, you're going to need a great set of tires. Doreen Mills Fleet Farm Destination Summer Drive event. You'll receive up to a $70 prepaid card when you purchase a new set of 4 qualifying Cooper tires. Johnny Johnson is our guest. We're going to talk about some kayak fishing. I just downloaded the story a couple of days, or the day before last, about the 5 carp captured. I think they were big heads out in the St. Croix and a lot further up into the St. Croix than they thought the invasive carp were getting up to. So we've got a guest, Nick Fronhauer. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Fronhauer.
All right.
We're always so impressive on this show. We're going to talk about invasive fish and river habitat. He's a coordinator. We'll get into that. And then some shooting gallery trivia contest.
Yeah. And we also have a mystery guest. With the trivia contest that Mark is setting up between you and me, and I don't know what it's all about. If it's about hunting and fishing, I win. If it's about sex and women, you win. So let's hope you balance those questions. But I've got a mystery guest, I'm going to tell you right now, is one of your favorites. And you're
really?
Yep.
All right.
You have no clue, and it's a lot of fun. You're going to have a lot of fun with this person, but it's going to be one of your favorites.
All right. We'll do that a little bit later. Big Mankato Bass Fishing Tournament. Let's talk about that.
You gotta love the Twin Cities. Check out Ferrall on the Bench every night, 9 to 1 a.m., baby, on 105 The Ticket.
Do you live for hunting and fishing? Tune in to Ticket Outdoors with Brian Zepp.
Jerry Yellen, a World War II fighter pilot, served our country most honorably as a captain.
We were constantly reminded of that's commitment to the other people. We were a nation of people of you, commitment to the other people. That's what you learn in the military. We learn to kill, but you learn that your life isn't worth anything without the life of the guys around you or the girls around you.
Ticket Outdoors, presented by Dan's Southside Marine. 2 hours every Wednesday at 7 on 105 The Ticket.
For Father's Day, get Dad gifts from his favorite store, Fleet Farm. Dad will feel like a king on the Cloud 9 hanging lounge chair, $158.88. The Berkeley Deluxe Electric Filet Knife Kit is $39.99. A DeWalt 20-volt drill driver kit is $99. Dad can do some serious cooking on a Traeger Little Tex Elite Grill, $599.99. And can't decide? Fleet Farm gift cards make great gifts.
This is the 105 The Ticket weather from Nature's Fury. Scattered thunderstorms this evening, then partly cloudy overnight, low near 60. Tomorrow should be a nice day, partly cloudy, high of 79. The weekend, it's a mixed bag. Friday, high of 81, partly cloudy, maybe some showers late in the day. Saturday, showers almost for certain, thunderstorms possible, high of 80. Sunday, Father's Day, mostly sunny and 0 chance of rain. That should be nice. This weather update is brought to you by Nature's Fury. You can find Nature's Fury at your local Cub Foods and select holiday stores.
Hi, it's Tom with Dan Chesky from Dan's Southside Marine, introducing Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale. The damn thing takes place now, goes through Father's Day, which should take away all of your excuses for not showing up. The perfect time for Dan's Damn Boat Sale at Dan's Southside Marine.
Get great savings on Premier, Alumacraft, and Berkshire boats coming right out of my pocket. Any damn boat you see on the website's for sale, so shop online for any damn boat you want, or come down to the store at 98th and Logan in Bloomington and see him in person. Pretty damn easy, huh?
It's Dan Chesky's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington.
Our dealer incentives and factory rebates will save you a lot, and I will pitch in a few goodies too. So visit our damn website and check out the damn savings.
Everybody's talking about it. Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now through Father's Day at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington, or you can shop online at dansouthsidemarine.com.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
I got a short chair tonight.
Is that a metaphor for something?
Must be, but Diana's out of town. It can't be much of a metaphor, but
all right. Ticket Outdoors rebroadcast Sunday mornings from 6 to 8. You can catch the podcast on 105theticket.com or stream it, but you would already know that because you'd be streaming right now. If you're ever out of town, you can take us with you. I can't think of any bigger compliment to a vacation or a business trip than the Ticket Outdoors on the road with you on Wednesday nights. Our guest, fellas, let's go ahead and bring on Johnny Johnson, Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association. Johnny, welcome to the Ticket Outdoors.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, Johnny, what's your real name? Come on, what's your real name?
Johnny Johnson.
Johnny Johnson.
Welcome to the Ticket Outdoors.
JJ, well, welcome to Ticket Outdoors, man. You got a big Mankato bass fishing tournament coming up this weekend, but I want to talk about before we get to that, the Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association. Tell us a bit about that. How many members? How long you been around?
Well, this is about our third year that we've been around, maybe going on our fourth. We have well over 600 members in our association now. We made a pretty big leap these last 6 months. We're just, a group of guys and gals and families that all love to kayak fish, and we put out shouts out during the week to, hey, who wants to go fishing where? And we gather up and go fishing together. 10, 15, 20 of us sometime will meet up. We have 3 online tournaments and 3 on-the-water tournaments. They're just friendly tournaments. We're not a major tournament league type association. We just like to have tournaments for our association members, and we all gather and just have a blast.
And it's really just having a good time. Now, Johnny, we're talking with Johnny Johnson, Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association. Are you the Prez, or what do we call you? The King? King Johnny?
I don't mind the King.
King Johnson. King Johnson. That's an old nickname I used to have back in college, but, well, it's another story. Hey, John, did we have you on the show before, Johnny?
We did, yeah. We
because,
did.
Right, you sound familiar to me. I know we've talked in length about kayak fishing and with some folks from the Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association, but I've got the memory of an alcoholic. So, Johnny, and you said, because you said something in your last little statement there, that you've really had a big push recently. When we had you in, we were talking about kayak fishing was kind of exploding, turning into a big deal. In fact, I remember exactly where you sat. I did one of those things that we all do after we've had a couple of beers. I'm not saying we did it that night, had a couple of beers, but I was like, Johnny, I'm going to get a hold of you, man, and we're going to fish, and I'm going to get a kayak. But some people have done more than just talk about it. Obviously, they've gotten themselves a kayak and joined your association.
Yeah, we were sitting at about 465 or so members there, and we pushed up into 500, then on up into 600 areas. So
that's what the Ticket Outdoors does for all of our clients. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, actually they dipped a little right after the show, but they were able to stage a comeback. Now, Johnny, the reason I like this, we were talking at the beginning of the show. Now, I'm the only member of Ticket Outdoors without my own boat, although these guys have graciously allowed or offered to rent me the Ticket Outdoor.
Yeah, the Ticket Outdoors. Sea Sprite, right.
But the reason I like this, because boat ownership, I mean, that's a whole different level, league up there. But kayaking, it's fairly inexpensive. How much for a kayak to get started for me?
Really, on the cheap, to get something that you want to use, you're looking at about $500, and I mean, you get, it's like any other fishing equipment. You get what you pay for, basically.
But for $5, I can get started. I can get out in the water and do some fishing, which you're not going to in some other boats. So it's pretty affordable. And you said the appeal of it when you were talking on is I really can. We're talking about Little Falls Lake, a lake you're going to let go, for want of a better term, over by Hudson. Is one of those little lakes that's non-motorized, and you'll find some of those around here where you can just slide out with a kayak and you're doing your own thing, man. Super peaceful.
You got that right. It's the best way I've ever fished. This is my 10th year that I've been fishing out of a kayak, and it's just by far the best way I've ever fished, not even a close second.
But
I don't
Johnny,
have to buy gas. I don't have to take care of my motor. I don't have to, worry about a boat trailer. I can still have a fish finder. I can have an anchor system on there, and I get my Jack Russell sitting up front with me. So
there you go. There you go. Hey, Johnny, how did you end up starting kayak fishing? I mean, nobody starts kayak fishing. You start with a 12-foot fishing boat or a 10-horse Johnson. Why a kayak?
Well, it was just out of necessity. I was living in Columbus, Ohio, and my bosses at the time knew that I liked to fish all the time. And one of the bosses had a two-seater kayak, and he said, hey, go ahead and take it and use it. And the first time I jumped on the water with it, I said, oh, I finally found. I
suppose he was in the back. It's a boss situation. Anyway, sorry, Johnny.
Well, good for you. I'll tell you what, but ever since we had you on, it's like, it's not a big deal. I'm not promoting myself, but if you ever sell your home, before you sell your home, you don't think anything out of it. No, listen, no. But when you put your home in the market, all of a sudden you see all these signs, right? You see there's a billion of them. Same thing with kayaks. We had you on a couple of months back, and all of a sudden I'm seeing people with kayaks all over the place, and people I'm talking to are kayak fishing. Mallory's one of my clients. He is a kayak addict. I was up in St. Croix Falls this morning showing a house just north on 87, just north of Highway 8, 7 miles north of Highway 8. And the lady who owned the house was leaving. She was going kayak fishing on the St. Croix River. It's really growing. This is really cool.
Well, and kayaking has been fairly popular here in the Midwest, specifically Minnesota, I think, for a lot of years. And you're just throwing the twist of fishing in with it. And Johnny, I mean, I've been doing some shore fishing. I just get up in the mornings and I'll go stand on the shore down in Prior Lake or up at White Bear, Bald Eagle, or something like that.
Wherever you wake up.
Wherever I wake up that morning, I always take my fishing rod with me. Like if I pass out in the yard, just throw my fishing rod and my tackle box on me.
That's good. That was a good one.
Thanks, Mark, for participating. Mic off.
Who needs a boomer?
No, right, exactly. But it's and I thought, but whenever you're shore fishing, you want to go over there. You want to sneak up the shore. You want to do that, and you can do it with a kayak. And I would think half the fun would just be getting there. You're just going to kayak a little bit, work the shores. And you can do it by yourself. It's not noisy. It's peaceful.
Easy to paddle. You only need 4 inches of water to float, and you can paddle over.
Yeah, let's talk about some of those shallows you can get into that you can't necessarily with a boat. Yeah. All right, Johnny. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right, well, you got lily pads, you got matted grass. I mean, you got rivers and creeks, and I can go places that boats aren't just going to be able to get to. So,
you're not dragging your prop on the rocks or getting hung up or anything like that. So it's just it's a more low maintenance way to actually get out in the water. All right, so we've talked about the Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association. How do they get a hold of you guys?
We're at the Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association.org, O-R-G.
Yeah, or just punch that in that little search box on your computer, and I'm sure you guys will come up at the top of the list.
Or 507-525-5805. 507-525-5805.
That's a personal number, Stu.
That's okay.
I don't care.
Okay.
Again, that's 507.
Or ladies.
All right, I'll write it in the bathroom before I leave for a good time kayaking.
We'll come visit you quick.
I'm sure you probably will.
Johnny, I've got a paddle.
We'll talk about your tournament, the Minnesota Bass Fishing Tournament, the Big Mankato Tournament coming up in the next segment. Let's stay on the kayak fishing just a little bit because it's becoming so much more popular than it was. Is there anything that now? I guess we had that young gal on from Ontario that went out
Ashley Ray.
Ashley Ray.
Tim Moore, our good friend, kayak fishes out east. That's
got a muskie. Yeah. How often do you end up going out kayak fishing?
Oh, probably minimum 3 times a week. And I told you I got a muskie in Ohio last time I was down there, and Grant Karsten, who you guys know.
Yeah, good man.
Told me to remind you, we did a Lake Rebecca cleanup here in the spring, and we were out throwing twisters, for crappies, and I tagged into a muskie again.
Nice.
Is there any lack? I mean, because you're kind of locked in there in the kayak. Is there any frustration with lack of movement? Obviously, you can't have Boomer likes to get about 7 or 8 different rods going at once and see what's going to bite on what. You basically got your one rig.
No. I can carry 7 rods with me and all my tackle, my food, my water, and my dog and me. And,
wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But
do you ever get kind of frustrated with the ability to not be able to stand up and walk around and move or anything like that?
No, well, my back doesn't really allow me to stand up anymore, but I can stand up in my kayak. The kayaks they make today are really stable, and you can stand right up in a lot of the newer ones and fish without worrying about tipping over or falling out.
Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, Johnny, I was just at High Tempo, a friend of your guys', and I saw some of the new Hobies out there.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely incredible. I mean, they have live wells for kayaks.
Yeah. Really?
They have anything that you could possibly imagine. Another thing I like about kayaking fishing is kind of the homemade inventions that people make up as far as anchor systems. What's some of the more fun stuff you've seen on a kayak at one of your events? Just kind of innovations and stuff like that.
Well, most everybody, including myself, and I got a lot of help from Grant Karsten. We make our own milk crates behind us to put our rod holders on, and we install our own fish finders. We put on our own anchor trolley system, and a lot of us have now got video cameras that we attach right to the kayak, and we get to videotape all of our fishing adventures. I just posted one up yesterday. you guys will get a kick out of watching that. I should give you the link after we get off.
Yeah, do
here.
that. Please do.
Yeah, make sure. Heck, you can give us the link while you're on the air, man. Let's all share it.
Yeah, give me your email and I'll send it to you. You guys will laugh your butt off.
All right, sounds good. I'll download that. Maybe we'll have it on a little bit later on in the show. Johnny Johnson, Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association. We're going to talk about a big Mankato bass fishing tournament you guys have coming up this weekend in the next segment. I know what it was. You mentioned High Tempo. Are they a sponsor of ours?
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
Okay, all right. Here's why I say that, because they are a great company, and long before they came up on this show, I've patronized them. My daughter and I have both gotten skis there, and they have all the rigs sitting out in front. It's right on Highway 61, White Bear. By the way, can we bill them for this? I don't know.
I'll try.
All right. Well, this is a freebie.
We can send them the tape anyway.
This is the kind of service you're going to get from the show. But no, it's one of those small, I think it's probably family owned. I don't know them that well. But it's really, everybody's really personable and small. It's the kind of place I would go to because I don't know jack squat about kayak fishing or kayaks, where I'd go, and I'd feel comfortable asking. And I'm not going to get, some teenage kid that's bothered with me or doesn't know what I'm talking about. So I really like that shop up there. So that's probably where I would go to do some kayak shopping.
Yeah, they have Hobies, I believe, are the only ones they carry, and those are kind of the Cadillac.
I got to quit talking about this and get out and do it. Johnny Johnson, Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association. You guys have a big Mankato bass fishing tourney this weekend. Let's talk about that when we come back with Ticket Outdoors.
Try a dose of Gio and Jones. We're on weekday mornings until 8 a.m. on Minnesota Sports Radio 105 The Ticket.
Well, Minnesota fishing season is officially here, and it's time to hit your favorite lakes and fishing spots. Boomer here with the Ticket Outdoors, and I want to thank Alumacraft for being our official boat sponsor. I just got off the water with my Alumacraft T-Pro, and boy, do I love the space, storage, and sweet ride on the water. I love Alumacraft because they're made right here in Minnesota, and they're simply the best aluminum boat on the market. For more about Alumacraft, visit your local dealer or go to alumacraft.com.
Here's a hint for Father's Day. Fishing gear and Fleet Farm. Give Dad the advantage with the Lowrance Elite 4X Chirp Fish Locator. $158.99. A Zebco Authentic 33 Camo Combo. $29.99. The Genesis 18-volt drill and driver is $19.98. Dad will look good in Carhartt T-shirts. Get 2 for $22.50. And can't decide? Fleet Farm gift cards make great gifts.
Hi, it's Tom with Dan Chesky from Dan's Southside Marine, introducing Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale. The damn thing takes place now, goes through Father's Day, which should take away all of your excuses for not showing up. The perfect time for Dan's Damn Boat Sale at Dan's Southside Marine.
Get great savings on Premier, Alumacraft, and Berkshire boats coming right out of my pocket. Any damn boat you see on the website's for sale, so shop online for any damn boat you want, or come down to the store at 98th and Logan in Bloomington and see him in person. Pretty damn easy, huh?
It's Dan Chesky's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington.
Our dealer incentives and factory rebates will save you a lot, and I will pitch in a few goodies too. So visit our damn website and check out the damn savings.
Everybody's talking about it. Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now through Father's Day at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington, or you can shop online at dansouthsidemarine.com.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
Gotcha, Mark.
Alrighty, we're connected. We're friends.
Our guest, Johnny Johnson, Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association. First, I want to thank our sponsors, Dan's Southside Marine, having their big damn sale. Dan sale. Did I say damn?
Big damn boat sale.
Said damn.
Fleet Farm, Alumacraft, Lakes Trading Company, and Custom Truck Accessories. Every Wednesday night, they're doing it up there right now, right up Central Avenue, Highway 65. They do the mud truck show and big swap meet.
Yep.
I
wish I could go once in a while, but we're always working on one.
I know.
Hey,
maybe I'll have to take the night off and take my girlfriend, like Boomer.
Yeah, speaking of the sponsors, you talked about Lakes Trading Company in Forest Lake.
Yeah.
I was told I was going to tease you about something here.
Yeah.
But my son Mike went to Lakes Trading Company as a result of me and us and our show. Mm-hmm. And what kind of gun did he buy, Mark?
An AR-15.
AR-15, he's got a 23 in there, whatever. And Zepp, you're going to be envious about this. In about 3 weeks, he and about 6 other people are going to Wyoming, I think.
Yep.
And they're going to hunt prairie dogs.
Prairie dogging.
He said you can shoot this damn thing in 300 yards, and he also bought a 100-round clip for the hell of it.
Yeah, you got the two drum barrel deal. It's going to be awesome.
Now, the AR-15, because for people that just don't like to reload more than once a day.
Oh, that's Mike. That's my buddy Mike.
Now, the AR-15 shoots a couple of different. You can buy an adapter and shoot a 22 long shell through it, but it's all a 22 caliber round, if that makes sense. But a high-powered 22 caliber round is typically what it shoots, and that will blow a gopher.
This also shoots military rounds, whatever that is. It's a 5.35 or something. 5.56.
The 5, really? That big of a round?
Yeah, 223.
Yeah.
Oh, the 223, the 5.56. Yeah, I was thinking of. So that does. Yeah, the AR-15, sure. Well, that's going to be a little bit of overkill on those things, but.
Oh, he can't wait. He's so
explode like a watermelon.
Yeah, they will. They're not even like a tomato. They'll just pop.
Yeah, he's going to put some bush on his head, like Bill Murray and Caddyshack and all this.
They're not. It's not like they're very shy. I don't know if you have to. It's a little gopher here. It's nothing to worry about. Just a little gopher plastic explosive.
Yeah.
Your friend, your buddy, the squirrel.
He's pretty excited, though. But anyway, he bought it from Lake. Thanks to Lakes Trading Company, they got him a good deal, and Mike went there to patronize them, and good for him and good for Lakes Trading Company.
That's on my Talk Big list, is get up there for their 3-gun shoot. That's becoming really popular.
Hey, do that after you go kayak fishing. Oh, never mind.
I'm going to go kayak fishing and then up to the 3-gun shoot. I'm going to do it, damn it. All right, Johnny Johnson, our guest with the Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association. Johnny, you said you guys have ballooned up to about 600 members, but you have a big Mankato bass fishing tournament this weekend. Is that members only then?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Well, tell us about it.
It's located, we're going to have it on 3 lakes. It's the first time that we had this tournament here. It's going to be Madison Lake, Duck Lake, and Ballantyne Lake, and they're about 16 miles east of Mankato.
Mm-hmm.
Madison Lake's got about 1,100 acres. Duck has about 282, and Ballantyne has about 350. So you got one really large lake and 2 small lakes. And right now we got probably close to 35 people that are going to be fishing this tournament. This coming Saturday here.
Oh, fun. How do you determine which lake you're going to fish?
These are just lakes that I moved back to Minnesota a couple years ago, and I started fishing lakes, and I've got about 5 lakes under my belt that I've really learned, and these are a few of my favorite ones.
But I'm talking about the members. How do they choose which lake they get to fish? Are they limited, or do you get to fish all of them, or what?
No, you can fish all of them. You can jump from lake to lake if you'd like, or you can just stay on one lake.
And how do you go ahead, Mark.
So you decided to have a bass fishing tournament on a lake that you've already figured out? That doesn't seem very fair, does it?
I'm not in the tournament.
Oh, come on.
Johnny's just there for
I'm adamant about staying out of it. I just want everybody to have fun and catch fish. And there's a lot of bass and big bass in these lakes, so we're going to have a
Is
blast.
it strictly a bass fishing tournament then?
Yeah,
it's
a bass fishing tournament, but if there's no bass caught, which isn't going to happen, it'll be the longest fish of whatever else is caught, but there's going to be a boatload of bass caught on Saturday.
What a lot of fun.
So being in a kayak, is this one of those deals where you take a picture like next to a ruler, or do you keep the live fish for a weigh-in, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's all we all have measuring boards or trowels, fish trowels that we lay the fish on, and we'll have an identifying logo piece of paper that you'll put next to it, and you lay it on your lap. And you put the camera up, you take a picture, and then you send it in or bring it in at the end of the tournament. And then we measure it out, the length of it. And the 3 total longest bass by anyone will win the tournament. We're going to place first, second, and third place.
And what are they going to win?
Well, the first place is going to be $500.
Wow, that's good. Yeah, fun.
Second, we're pretty low key on this. We don't get too carried away.
But you're all throwing in, $10 or $20 entry fee and just go out and have a good time?
Yeah, well, this one, it's $35 because we're camping, offering camping at Madison at Bray Park County Park, south end of Madison. So that had to cover the cost of that. And second place is going to be $175 bending branches paddle. Third place is $75 and a few lures. But we're going to have a raffle afterwards and give away prizes and that type of deal.
And more important than the $500 is bragging rights. That's got to be the name of the game. I play senior softball. What you're doing right now reminds me of the softball tournaments we all play. We played for 1 billion years, and we're out there to try to win. But if you don't win, who gives a rat's ass? And you get first place, second, third.
Right.
You got first, second, third, whatever. But after the tournament, you all have a couple of beers and laugh and BS and tell your fishing stories.
Exactly. It's no big hoopla over who wins, but whoever wins gets to talk smack, I guess. Other than that, we just laugh and joke around and we tell fish stories.
Good for you. Good for you.
Now, Johnny, I heard that friend of the show, Bill Shirk, is going to be following you guys around. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And are you going to be a TV star or what?
Unfortunately, he had to take his original cameraman, and he's leaving out Thursday night for another shoot, but he's sending down somebody else to do the filming for Due North Outdoors, and we'll be doing the interview, and he's going to be with us Friday morning from 6 till 10 o'clock Friday night, and I think he's going to come back Saturday morning at the start of our tournament.
He's a good man, but that's good for you guys.
Yeah, we'll make sure we keep a watch on the schedule. Put that up on your Facebook page, too. Obviously, you will.
Will do.
Now, going out in the kayak and doing a little fishing, is it any different when you're in a tournament fishing out of the kayak?
No, other than just the butterflies.
Right, the butterflies maybe being a little more aggressive,
cool.
A little less laid back.
Yeah, our members. We have some pretty doggone good fishermen in our association. So if you do come out and win one of them, that's saying a lot, because you're not going up against just somebody who goes out on the weekend from shore, right, like somebody we know.
Well, like any other motorized tournament, you're moving around pretty quick. You can be jumping around to a lot of different spots if something isn't working, depending on the weather, watching the other people in the tournament. A kayak, I'm sure there's some people that move around a lot faster than some other people. I guess that would be a big advantage if you can muscle that kayak over into some different spots a lot faster than other people can.
Yeah, that's an advantage, and the wind's going to play a huge factor in it. But probably the biggest blessing in disguise out of kayak fishing for me personally is it forced me to slow down and fish thoroughly one spot, and then my catch rate went up drastically because of that. So
that makes sense.
The moving around isn't needed too much. You're going to end up moving around anyway, and it's pretty easy to get your stuff in and out of the lakes. It'll take you about 15 minutes to load up and go to another lake.
Johnny, Zepp and I were talking about this before we got on the air, and he said, this sounds really cool, but it'd be more fun if it was a contact sport. Like dodgem cards or something.
You gotta ram your kayak into somebody else. Drive them into the shore a little bit. You can throw some elbows.
You watched the clip I just sent you, the link there called the bog, and you'll see me. We had to blaze a trail through the bog.
Oh, fun.
Mark, did you put that up on Tickets? So that's on Ticket Outdoors Facebook. Just go to Boomer knows how to say it, but just go to Facebook, type in Ticket Outdoors.
It's Facebook.com/105 the ticket. That's what I've got right in front of me.
Attaboy.
Hey, I'll tell you what, serious question here. My wife and I, but Diana's probably not going to go, so I might take Zepp, or my buddy Mark here, but I got 6 hours of a kayak trip down the Kinney River it's River Falls area, right? And Kinnickinnick is what it's called. And we're going to go 6 hours anytime before September. I can't wait to just cruise in a kayak. It's in a kayak down that river for 6 hours. What should I use to fish? I want to catch some smallies. I don't care what I want to. How do you fish out of a kayak in a river?
Pretty much the same way you do out in a lake. But for me personally, you just keep it simple. I bet you that I've probably caught more fish and more species of fish in rivers and creeks on a 4-inch twister grub.
That's fun.
An 8-ounce long shank Gamakatsu hook, and keep it green colors, brown colors, and the black with blue fleck, and you should be able to tag everything.
So
with
you practice the KISS philosophy, right? Is keep it simple, stupid, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Well, I can't wait to do it.
Is it Johnny Johnson, Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association? They have their big Mankato Bass Tournament this weekend. I suppose somebody just listening that owns a kayak, likes to go out and do a little bit of this, doesn't belong to the association. Suppose it's a little late to get in on this tourney.
No. By all means, you've got till 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon to sign up, and just jump on the .org site for our website. Sign up. It's for free to sign up for to be a part of our association. And then they'll have a section there for the Mankato Bass Tournament. You'll see a picture of me and my dog in the kayak. And just go through PayPal, make your payment. As long as we have about 5 o'clock tomorrow, you're in.
How many tournaments are you going to do this summer?
Just 3. And this one, and then I think you guys hopefully can be up to the Mille Lacs one, the Chris Nelson Memorial, which is in memory of the Hobie Kayak owner's son who died recently. So that's going to be a blast up there. They're good people. We're going to have a great time. Then we'll have one last bass tournament in the October time frame, and that'll wrap it up.
Is that bass up on Mille Lacs then?
Yeah, it'll be a largemouth and smallmouth tournament, but it's a smallie factory. We're going to stick a lot of pigs. I got a feeling.
I bet. What weekend is that one?
That is the last part of August. I don't have the...
One of the last couple of weekends of August, probably before Labor Day.
Yeah, it's at the end of August here, and you can sign up for that. We can have up to, I think, over 100 people in that tournament, so feel free to sign up. And
how are the numbers looking for this weekend?
We're close. I think we're in the 35 people range right now, so we're allowed to have 50, but that's still quite a few people. So it's going to be pretty interesting. There's going to be a lot of bass caught and a lot of big bass caught, so it's going to be interesting. Like I told you guys before, it's going to take 3 20-inch bass to win, and you laugh, but we'll see.
Oh, that's wonderful. What is the ratio of men to women in this tournament?
I haven't looked at this. Mostly men, and we got some kids in it, and dads bringing their kids with them. But we've had women come out, and we've had daughters come out. It's friendly. It's family friendly. Let's put it that way.
So what you're saying, somebody can really get involved in kayak fishing and do it seriously and start this whole process for under $1,000.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about something to put your kayak on top of your car as well. I mean, what does that cost?
Oh, that's nothing,
that's not a big deal.
I want my boat money back.
No, you can go cheap and buy Malone inflatable racks that you can put on top of your car, and it costs you $85. You can haul it anywhere you want. So
really?
Yeah, under $1,000, you can pretty much get everything you want. And by the way, that Chris Nelson Destination Tournament is going to be August 29th.
All right, very good, up on Mille Lacs. Johnny Johnson, Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association. You got your Mankato Bass Fishing Tournament this weekend. It sounds like about another 24 hours if somebody wants to last minute jump in on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's your website?
It's Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association.org, and we also have a Facebook page. Just punch in the same thing. If you got any questions, you can jump on there and ask.
Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association. Thanks for jumping back on with us, Johnny. Have fun this weekend. I hope the weather works out for you. I've got some outdoor stuff I'm doing this weekend. I like that they're forecasting rain for Saturday because...
Why?
3 days out, they're only right about 20% of the time. So it looks like we're going to have a good day on Saturday. Johnny, thanks for being on the show. We'll have you back. Tell us how that tournament went.
Appreciate it, guys.
You bet.
All right, thanks, John.
Take care, Johnny.
Bye.
Shooting gallery trivia contest time. Is that what we're doing?
What's the prize? What's the prize?
You get Boomer's talent fees for the week.
All right.
This is Andrew Wiggins. You're listening to Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
The Saturday night game of the week, St. Paul's Saints baseball on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
Charging hard, he leaves his feet and dives to make the catch.
Our broadcast start with Live from Lower Town with Pete Wagner and Sean Aronson. We talk Saints, baseball, and more starting at 5 p.m. Then the Saints pregame show starts at 6:45 p.m., followed by play-by-play from Sean.
Drilled high and deep left field, well hit, way back, goodbye!
Every Saturday Saints home game on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
For Father's Day, get Dad gifts from his favorite store, Fleet Farm. Dad will feel like a king on the Cloud 9 hanging lounge chair, $158.88. The Berkeley Deluxe Electric Filet Knife Kit is $39.99. A DeWalt 20-volt drill driver kit is $99. Dad can do some serious cooking on a Traeger Littletex Elite Grill, $599.99. And can't decide? Fleet Farm gift cards make great gifts.
Well, Minnesota fishing season is officially here, and it's time to hit your favorite lakes and fishing spots. Boomer here with the Ticket Outdoors, and I want to thank Alumacraft for being our official boat sponsor. I just got off the water with my Alumacraft T-Pro, and boy, do I love the space, storage, and sweet ride on the water. I love Alumacraft because they're made right here in Minnesota, and they're simply the best aluminum boat on the market. For more about Alumacraft, visit your local dealer or go to alumacraft.com.
Hi, this is Brian Zapp, and growing up, it was the greatest thing to hear Dad say, let's go fishing, especially since we grew up on a farm and there were many less fun alternatives. And living in Minnesota means the best fishing on all of the planet is right in our backyard. Catching bass on Minnetonka or chasing wallies up north, it always seems like it's one fella in the group that has the lucky lure on any given day. I think it's my turn next. And just last weekend, my daughters and I had the best time catching panfish on Spring Lake. But I will confess I was pulling out of the driveway when I remembered, the girls don't have their fishing licenses yet. And with daylight burning, thankfully, they've made it super easy. We're right back inside the house and on the computer. All you do is visit licenses.dnr.state.mn.us. Select the license permit you want to buy and submit your payment, then print it out. We were back on the road in 5 minutes. It's peak fishing season right now in Minnesota. Are you ready to fish? Visit licenses.dnr.state.mn.us. And happy fishing.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
All right, clean up your potty mouths. We're back on the air, guys.
I got to stand up for this.
Yeah. Thank you again to Johnny Johnson, Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association.org, if you want to check that out. Like I said, that's my new passion, kayak fishing.
Yeah, sure it is. Yeah.
Well, Boomer out in the town somewhere.
Virginia Beach, and he's on his way. No, I think he's in Washington, D.C. right now, but he was in Virginia Beach. He was in, where'd he start?
I have no idea.
Nashville or someplace, right? He's all over the place.
It's a good old-fashioned vacation.
Yeah, good for him.
We'll get the Boomer fishing report. Absolutely. Everybody's got to have some downtime. Yeah. The wild card's true, man. He's always here. And Mark Lukey, our producer, what have you got planned for us now, buddy?
This is going to be the most you've ever heard me talk, but I have a little quiz here.
We have a technical difficulty, yeah.
Since Boomer is not with us, there's a whopping $15 of payment that I have to pay somebody, right?
All right. So is this like in the cage, fighting to the death?
So this is going to be a quiz show I affectionately named the Shooting Gallery.
I wish I had sound effects.
Some questions you're going to just take turns answering.
You're saying the KQRS sales were kind of slow today? Is that what you couldn't?
Yes.
No
I spent
calls?
about a good 4 hours on this thing. It didn't sell a dang thing. Anyway, good thing my bosses don't listen. So I'm going to take turns. We'll start with Drew. The closest wins on some. Yeah, buddy. And on some, the first to say your name, you get to answer first. So if you know the answer, you say Stu, and then,
I've got to say my name first.
Yep.
All right.
But I'll let you know which questions that is. Okay.
Stu. I'm sorry.
Stu, you get to guess first.
Do I just say my name?
No, please. I'll tell you.
Christ, I know that answer.
I know this is what's going to be.
I think this is going really well.
I know. What year did our esteemed co-host Boomer establish his company, Here's My Gear, on Outdoor Classifieds? Closest answer wins. You guess first.
He did that in 2013.
What's your guess?
Well, that was my guess. I'll say 2012.
And it was 2011. So, Zepp.
Son of a... Oh, I win. I'm closest.
You win.
Yeah. Take that, old man.
All right. Zepp 1, Stu 0.
Honey, he called me an old man.
Game over.
All right. Zepp, you get to answer this one first.
All right.
What year was one of our biggest sponsors, Alumacraft, out of St. Peter, founded? Closest wins.
Wow. 1958.
1964.
It is 1946. Zepp with another one.
Man.
Wow, 46.
I need to get the sound effects up here. 1 second.
Yeah. Well, of course. Then they finally had some material after World War II to make some boats.
All right. You're the first to guess on this one, Stu.
Thank you.
Which state has the most lakes? And this is multiple choice. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Alaska, Florida, or Texas?
Florida.
That is incorrect. Your guess.
Wisconsin.
That is incorrect as well.
Son of a...
It's
bucket.
Alaska, 3 million lakes.
Oh, I guess we should have guessed the land
3
parcel.
million?
It's roughly the size of North America.
3 million lakes? It's a stupid question.
Yeah, who's counting up there? Does anybody really count?
Give me some more
those?
coffee, Zepp, will you?
I know it's pretty strong.
All right. So, Zepp 2, Stu nothing. All right. Now, your guess first.
Diana, 651-989-9105. You know these answers, sweetheart. Give me a call. Go ahead.
Lifeline already?
All right. Your guess. In Zepp's home state of South Dakota, how many pheasants were harvested in 2014?
You're asking me.
Yeah, well, closest guess wins.
Don't even ask me.
How many pheasants were harvested in South Dakota in 2014?
I got 14.
7. I'll say 230,000.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if that's a good guess. 174,000.
1.1 million pheasants.
I win.
1.1 million?
The game is tightening up.
Good God, how do we produce all those birds?
No wonder we have all these great sponsors on this show.
174,000.
Yeah.
I thought you just meant at Great Plains Hunting.
It's 2-1. Zep to Stru. All right.
I got to stretch.
You get the first guess on this. Zep, what month and year did we start the Ticket Outdoors, formerly known as Angler and Hunter? What month of what year?
October 2013.
Nailed it.
But what about me? Don't I give a chance? I got the date.
We're taking turns
I've got
here.
the date.
Oh, does he? You got
October 2nd, 2013. What year was that?
13.
Was it 13?
13, yeah.
Well, I had the date, but I know that.
All right.
That's no fair.
Okay, moving right along here.
Well, the crowd's going crazy.
The first to say their name gets the answer.
True.
Okay?
Thank you.
What award did producer Mark receive at his first fishing tournament in Gogebic, Michigan?
Mark Lukey?
Yeah, what other producer Mark is there?
Okay, it was the...
you going to say your name? You going to guess?
It was the smallest
Hairiest.
fish. No, it was the smallest fish.
It was smallest fish. I got $50.
I was there. It's one of those things that Zep said he was going to try to make, but
I was
of course...
looking for some music here just to kind of spice it up a little bit, but I can see that we're...
It's a little stale.
Yeah.
Wilder.
I don't have... We've got crap for music at this radio station.
Hurry up, I got a couple of good jokes, too.
Okay.
What's the score now? I feel like I'm losing.
3
to 2
to Zep 2.
All right.
Okay. Say your name now. You totally screwed up the...
Wait, how did I get behind?
Never mind.
Said.
I had 2.
No.
I had 2 before I got the October 13th.
Have some more coffee over there, will you?
I had 2 before I got to October 2013.
He got the state with the most lakes.
Yeah.
He got the birds.
Yeah.
And he got the smallest fish. So that's 3.
Yeah, but I have 3 as well.
You do?
Well,
yes.
yeah.
You had...
Yeah.
Here's my gear answer.
Yeah.
Illumicraft answer.
Right.
And... Yes, you do have 3.
Tie ball game.
All right, I'm going to let you live.
Tie ball.
Okay, here we go. I think I've got something here. All right, go ahead.
All right. Nice. Okay, the first to say your name gets the answer. You screwed this up last time.
What? Are you kidding me?
You could, say your name. Zep. Say Brian Zep. Okay,
Zep,
he's
yeah.
first.
What former guest of the Ticket Outdoors is credited as the inventor of the first portable flip-over style fish house?
Oh, that's too easy.
Yeah,
I know
the
that.
Godfather. Let's say it together. 1, 2, 3.
Dave Gens.
Yeah.
Wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
We're
All right,
tied.
you both get one.
4-4.
Okay.
All right. That's too easy.
All right, first to answer wins.
True. Oh, never mind. No.
Where was the first location of a live broadcast of the Ticket Outdoors?
Oh.
It was in Lionel Lakes at the...
Trappers.
Uh,
Yes.
Nope.
No, it's up on 49.
This is the first time we ever, outside of the studio, did a show.
Ice show. The ice show at the River Center.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Very good, Stu.
Thank you very much.
Stu's got 5.
Honey, we're rich.
All right. Closest answer wins. How many Facebook followers does the Ticket Outdoors Facebook page have as of this morning?
1,074.
1,706.
Zap wins that one. It's tied up at 5-5.
How'd you know that?
What is? I didn't know that wasn't it.
1,172.
Oh, I just guessed.
Okay.
Yeah.
First answer wins.
You went to college.
Why did a conservation officer interrupt producer Mark's first deer camp when he was 12 years old?
The pot party. Your dad was accused.
That's right.
Your dad was accused of raising pot.
Yes, that's very good. I like that one.
All right, closest
to the hole.
Closest wins. How many pounds is the biggest muskie ever caught in Minnesota?
Ooh, gosh.
I'm
going to say
I thought you did
5.
inches these days.
How many pounds?
Wasn't it like, was it 58 inches?
That's not pounds.
No, I know. I'll say 39 pounds.
40.
You win.
39?
I don't know.
54 pounds.
Yeah.
The biggest muskie.
All right.
I never caught a muskie.
I was going to say 50 even, but I knew.
So We happen to be tied, and there's one more question.
Oh, my God.
Okay,
the
baby, bring
pressure's
it.
on.
Wait a second. I got to get that music ready to go again. Okay, here we go.
For all the money. How many pounds was the biggest?
Does Mark Lukey weigh?
that could be a tiebreaker. 40. How many pounds was the biggest walleye caught in Minnesota?
17 pounds, 6 ounces at Lake Saganaga.
No.
It's very, very close, though. It's very close.
17.
It's over 17.
I'm going to go 18. Then,
no, it's not. It's not 18. It's over 17.
17 pounds, 8 ounces. Stu wins.
Oh, well, good. He should. He's been around the longest.
I guess I haven't, yeah. So I win $15.
Yep.
I'll give you 5 and give you 5.
All right, it's a deal.
I'm going to kick mine back into the coffee fund.
I had a lot dirtier questions, but I decided that we wouldn't go that route.
No, this show's it's a family-oriented show.
Yep. Well, thanks, guys.
Well, I'm glad that was so much fun. And I thought maybe I should call Jiggy Anderson tonight, but no, we've got a hell of a show tonight.
I knew my audience. I didn't get too sophisticated with the outdoors questions.
No, right, exactly. Thank goodness.
And by the way, Zeb,
somewhere Boomer knew the answer to every one of them.
By the way, Zeb, you actually did win because I did not know the Alaska Lake answer. You screwed up somehow, so we actually win.
I know Wisconsin's always bragging that we got more lakes than Minnesota. So
I didn't award any points for that. So.
Oh, okay, cool. Then
you won fair and square.
I won fair and square.
All right, well, be sure not to brag. Remember you said earlier with the softball buddies, it's not about winning.
That's right.
So you should get your check for $50 in 2017.
Is it true? Is it mystery guest time?
I think so, yeah.
I think it's mystery guest time.
Do you have any stories? We do have some time left.
I do. How about the guy who's this is an outdoor?
I like the guy not looking at the clock knows we have some time left. By the way, that's off 2 minutes.
Okay, never mind.
No, it's all right. It's 7:59 and 30 seconds.
Well, that's about it. This is about the guy who is fishing. It's an outdoor fishing show. He's fishing, right? And he has a chance to go up to Mille Lacs, and there's no walleyes up there, so he's fishing smallmouth bass. He catches a 3-pound fish, a smallie, a 5-pound, a 6-pound. He's in heaven, and he's going for he's so excited. He gets a phone call. His wife was in a serious car accident. She's in the hospital. Things aren't going well. You better get your ass over here real quickly. He's thinking, holy buckets, this is the best fishing day I've ever had. Sticks around for a couple more hours, goes to the hospital. The doctor says, where were you? He says, well, that's what I was doing. The doctor says, you gotta be serious. Your wife is here wreathing in pain. She's screaming her name for 2-3 hours, and you're out fishing? And the guy put his head down and goes, I feel so badly. The doctor says, I'm just screwing with you. She died an hour ago. What'd you catch?
The DA Show, weeknights until 9 on the Twin Cities Sports Radio, 105 The Ticket.
I work for myself. I spend most days driving people where they need to go. It pays the bills, and figuring out the rest is easy with QuickBooks Self-Employed. It's a simple program that estimates my federal quarterly taxes, so I know where I stand, whether I'm behind the wheel or in front of the oven, cooking for my own catering service. I rely on QuickBooks to help me know how much money to set aside for Uncle Sam and how much stays in my pocket. That's how I own it.
If you work for yourself, try QuickBooks Self-Employed with a free 30-day trial. Learn more at QBSelfemployed.com.
She fell in love with my blue eyes, but that love is dead. Yeah. Been wearing old contacts, now my eyes are all red. Girl, why'd I run out of contacts? I see nothing clear. Itchy eyes, old lenses, I can't hold back my tears. Never run out of contacts. Wish I could see you again.
Get free expedited shipping on all app orders. Never run out of contacts.
1-800-CONTACTS.
What's RDO, you ask? Well, it's your soundtrack for good days and not so good days. It's your party mix and your chill mix. Basically, RDO puts endless stations in your pocket or on your tablet. Launch a station based on an artist or genre, or build a custom music station that's totally you. And it's free until you say otherwise. That's RDIO. RDO. Tuned to you.
From the Mills Fleet Farm Studios, WGDX Lakeville, WRXP Cambridge, WGBZ Eden Prairie, a Cumulus station.
This is the 105 The Ticket weather from Nature's Fury. Scattered thunderstorms this evening, then partly cloudy overnight, low near 60. Tomorrow should be a nice day, partly cloudy, high of 79. The weekend, it's a mixed bag. Friday, high of 81, partly cloudy, maybe some showers late in the day. Saturday, showers almost for certain, thunderstorms possible, high of 80. Sunday, Father's Day, mostly sunny and 0 chance of rain. That should be nice. This weather update is brought to you by Nature's Fury. You can find Nature's Fury at your local Cub Foods and select holiday stores.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
We're back. I hope you are too. Hey, remember, summer is here, and whether you're going on a road trip or just going to the store, you're going to need a great set of tires. During Mills Fleet Farm Destination Summer Drive event, you'll get up to a $70 prepaid card when you purchase a new set of 4 qualifying Cooper tires. Rerun this sucker Sunday mornings at 6 o'clock or find the podcast on 105theticket.com.
And like Sunday morning at 6 o'clock, we need an alarm clock. The people who listened to the last segment might need an alarm clock as well to wake up. But
we threw a little trivia game in there. We're just, here's what it is. It's the middle of summer. So, the open water season isn't new. We're a long way away from, although I did have a story I wanted to talk to you guys about turkey harvest numbers being real big again here in Minnesota. But, we've got deer season is still in the fall, and that's a little ways out. And so you're kind of in that summer swing here a little bit. We're looking for some things to talk about.
But, I'll tell you one thing I want to talk about. I was going to try to find somebody last fall to do this, but I didn't know that cougar hunting is legal in the state of Minnesota.
Legal? It's a lot of fun. You had to come down to my bar gate. Oh, wait a second. Wait, what?
That was good.
I'm going to tell you how to bait a
good.
cougar.
Are they bobcats? What's the difference? I don't know. But
the difference is very considerable. In fact, I was a guest on a bobcat hunt about a month ago, and a bobcat's a big cat. That's what a bobcat is.
It's a big what? A big cat.
Think of a big house cat. I mean, they probably, just a really big house cat.
Right.
Where a cougar is a mountain lion.
I thought we were talking about women here.
No. But seriously,
he's being serious. Yeah.
It's legal in the state of Minnesota, and I think it'd be kind of fun to have somebody on because we don't know anything about it.
There was a cougar, mountain lion, we call them in South Dakota, and they're both acceptable. Mountain lion sighting in Wisconsin. In western Wisconsin here not too long ago. I think just last week.
Yeah, right.
They found some tracks, and they think they might have a couple of cubs along. It's the spring, obviously, and one of them had gotten into a tangle with a house cat. And so, they're out there. As far as a hunting season, I know in South Dakota out in the Black Hills, they have a pretty robust hunting season out there. They try and harvest somewhere between 40 to 100 cats each year.
There may not be a more majestic animal than that animal. The muscles and the lines and the speed and the strength.
It's just
pretty cool.
It's a completely different animal when you talk about your big cats. I mean, I was out on an antelope hunt in Wyoming many, many years ago and got a couple of bobcats. And bobcats, just think of that one tomcat you saw that's a really huge house cat somebody had. Bobcats maybe a little bit bigger than that, certainly leaner and meaner.
Like a lynx kind of.
Yeah, but a cougar is a big cat. I mean, that's, I don't know what they probably weigh, but you're probably getting into the 40, 50 pound range there.
Well, you got to have somebody on who's hunted cougars and have them on the Ticket Outdoors. I wonder what all about.
Dad went out to the hills to hunt, got his cougar tag, his mountain lion tag out in the hills of South Dakota. And I think that was like a January or a February hunt. I may be wrong on that. Maybe that's when he ended up drawing the tag and got skunked. Because when you're out in the hills, when you're in that type of environment, you're in their environment.
Yeah.
Deer are very hard to get out in that environment, let alone a mountain lion. But he saw some tracks, but never got close to anything. He doesn't think. Who knows? Maybe he was sitting in a tree or a little rock ledge watching him. That's the thing you get with mountain lions. They'll watch you. So, we're going to talk about big head carp captured in the St. Croix River in the past week. Some fishermen turned them into the DNR or sent them some pictures or whatever. Nick Frohnauer, invasive fish, river habitat coordinator. Is he with the DNR?
He is, yep.
With the DNR. Going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show. It's time for Stru's mystery guest. I'm
gonna start this thing out. Now, is he on? I'll tell you what.
He's on right now, yeah.
How are you, sir? Hang on a second. Now, you are the mystery guest because occasionally I try to find people who are not only interesting, but have great stories and great backgrounds. And we spoke to you, a couple of months back. And Brian Zepp, the host of this show, said you by far were his favorite guest.
Oh.
Now, this is George Krogh and Carol G. And George was the gentleman who was 84 years old or so and was having a hard time getting a doe permit and, a buck permit, right? No, a doe permit. Anyway, so George, tell the story. By the way, now, here's what happened. I called George a couple of days ago. I said, George, we want to have you back on because I want to congratulate you because, I said to George, he said, for what? I said, they passed the bill. Until 2 days ago, George didn't know they passed the bill. We're going to call it the George Krogh bill. Huh, George?
Did they pass the bill?
They passed the bill, yes, sir.
Well, what do you know? Well, first of all, I've got to give 1,000 thanks to the people that did that. I mean, I was just a small spoke in a wheel of progress. They're the one that actually did the work to make this bill pass.
Back it up for a second, George, because it's been a long time since you've been on. Tell us what happened, what intrigued you to start this process and get whatever kind of bill passed that you're talking about.
Well, last fall, during deer season, it was bucks only. And I start in October. I do my research in October. I scout the area that I'm going to hunt. And I never saw a buck. I did see does, so I knew they were around. But my chance of shooting a buck was kind of nil. So as I hunted, I was true to my word. All I saw was a few does. So finally I went to the DNR office here in Two Harbors and asked them if they would issue me a doe permit.
And they should have.
Yeah, and they said they didn't have the authority. So one of the gals in the office said, why don't you write to the headmen, the DNR in the cities? And that's what I did. And I did get a reply, and I thanked them. Oh, there's not enough words that I can thank them gentlemen who helped me.
Do you recall who that was?
They said I should go to the legislators. Well, that's all I did.
A pair of choppers.
And consequently, I wrote a letter to the legislators, and consequently, everything went into motion.
Good for you.
Well, George, George, this is Brian Zapp. It's great to have you back on the show. I didn't know you were going to be on tonight, so thank you again for joining us. As this all started, so you couldn't get your tag. You're 84 years old, and you went to the legislators and the DNR, and you said, listen, I think when you get to a certain age, you ought to be gifted, you ought to be allowed to get a tag.
You bet.
My first request was, at age 80, we should get a permit where we could shoot either buck or a doe.
Right.
And how it turned out, I'm grateful. Come this fall, sirs, I'll tell you a story.
All right.
I'm 85 years of age, and every day is precious to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I take one day at a time. Mm-hmm. Every day, the good Lord gives me another day. This is the day the Lord has made. I rejoice and be glad. I take advantage of everything He gives me. Because, you know what? I could sit in this chair here and that's it. I can't do nothing.
Right.
So I'm grateful for everything that is about to transpire. And I'll enjoy, and hopefully men of my age still will have the opportunity to go out into the woods and enjoy what they've been doing for years.
George, I tell you what, be proud of yourself, because what you did is going to give other people your age or older who still love the outdoors the opportunity to hunt. Yeah. And I think that's the coolest thing, because a lot of people talk about it, but very, very few people take the next step and do it. You did it. And they passed the bill. We're going to call it the Bill Krog bill. And I tell you what, it's one of the neatest things that
George Krog?
I mean, George Krog bill, yeah. Or it could be Bill. No, it could be
Krog,
Bill.
George.
No, his nickname is Bill. Anyway, so be proud of yourself.
The publicity was more than I could handle. I didn't realize that I had so much publicity. Just trying to help other people my age, to do what we love to do.
Did you have to sign any autographs?
Well, come fall, I'll be out in that woods enjoying it.
Yeah.
Whatever comes and whatever I can shoot, I'll be grateful. But I can still do it.
Attaboy. Hey, George, is your wife around?
Pardon?
Is your wife nearby?
Well, she's upstairs someplace. I'm downstairs.
Well, I wanted to talk to her. You're exciting, but I wanted to talk to her about. She and I talked earlier about some of her venison recipes, and I thought that would be kind of fun. But
okay, I'm on the
there's
she's been on the entire time.
Yeah. Mrs. Krog, this is Steve Straczynski, Ticket Outdoors, and we have only a couple of minutes left before we have to get to the next segment. But I tell you what, we talked. I said, if George isn't around, we'll just talk to you. So what do we talk about? I said, we'll talk about your venison recipes, because every time George gets a deer, you guys eat the whole damn thing. I mean, that's all there is to it. And you said, I don't have any real recipes, but tell me what you told me earlier about cooking venison.
Well, I can.
Because my wife's not a big venison fan.
Oh, I can it. I can it in pint jars, and I just put it in there raw with nothing, with a little salt. And I put it in my pressure cooker and can it, and that's good. So we eat that in the winter. And I also can potatoes, because we have a big garden.
No one cans potatoes, Mrs. Krog.
And, well, I didn't. My mother never did, so I never thought of that. Well, then I had some red potatoes that had to be taken care of, so I thought, I'm going to can these. Then my daughter said, well, Mother, that's good, because I've been buying canned potatoes at the store all the time.
Oh, fun. Fun.
So I take out a pint of venison and a pint of potatoes and put it all on the kettle, and that's their supper.
Sounds good to me.
Now, Mrs. Krog, how do you feel about George taking on the man, the big government, getting involved here and getting the job done?
Thing, gentlemen, I'm an old-time butcher. I know how to cut that meat up, and I've had people come to our house. They've eaten venison, and then, oh, my, is that delicious. Well, I take care the right way, right off from the very minute when I shoot that animal, then the work begins. You bet. That's why venison can be so good. It's taken care of the minute it's shot.
Now, George, I want to remind our listeners that last time we had you on, you didn't end up harvesting a deer last year, but you wrote these letters and you got some attention. You got a return letter, but you received more than that. Tell us about the DNR officer that showed up at your door and what he brought.
That's a great story.
Well, I'll tell you, that day that the guy came to my house in a pickup with that big buck, I was flabbergasted. But I thanked him, and what a gentleman he is. You know, I have a lot of respect for the DNR, both him and anyone who works for the DNR. Mm-hmm. You know, they've got a big job to do.
They do.
And I see in the paper where there's complaints about why are this and why that. They must forget there's two things that cause a lot of things that they have no control over. Number one is the elements, is the weather. Over the years, I've seen it. The weather dominates how things happen, and then the predators. And you've got no control over that.
Good point.
Yeah, so you take what comes and be satisfied, and don't say, well, there's no deer around. Baloney, they're smart. They know exactly where they need to be, and some of these big bucks, they're the only time they get shot is when they make a mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. They're smart. That's what Dad used to always tell us. The reason they get that big is because they're smart. So you ended up getting your deer in the freezer after all last year, and it looks like, God willing, you're going to have another one to harvest this fall.
And that was because the head man in the DNR called the game warden here in Two Harbors and said, you've got to get a deer for George. I was so grateful. I was so grateful I didn't even get a chance to thank him. But I want to thank him so many times for what he did, and he was tasty. He was good eating.
I'm sure your expression and the look on your face and your reaction was thanks enough. Hey, George, we want to thank you, all want to thank you for, speaking out and proving that we think about the DNR, we think it's this big government bureaucracy and this agency, and one man spoke up and another guy got back to him, and then someone else helped out, and then legislators got involved and they got a bill passed. Because let's be honest, the number of hunters over the age of 80 that want to go out and harvest a deer this year is not going to affect the population one way or the other. What it's going to do is that people that got us to where we are, guys and gals your age that got us to where we are, we're allowing them to do what they love to do with their remaining years. And it all started with you, George. Don't be humble. It started with one man doing something, and that's what it's all about. So
I sure give big thanks to everybody that give us old-timers another opportunity to hunt.
I'll tell you what,
our days are numbered.
Old-timer, now listen, old-timer, you're not dead yet. Don't give up on us yet.
At 85, I can call myself an old-timer.
But you're not dead yet. I'll tell you what, now, when you get a deer this year, I'm gonna, no, hang on, George. You talk more than I do. Be quiet for a second. Hang on a second here. When you get a deer this year, at the end of the deer season, I'm calling you up again, and you're going to invite the Ticket Outdoors guys up and have your Mrs. Krog cook us one of those nice dinners. How does that sound?
Well, I'll tell you.
He's so excited.
I think he hung up. No, I'm teasing.
Yeah, I'll cook a dinner.
There you go. There you go.
Hey,
we got to go to the next guest.
Mr. and Mrs. Krog, George, thank you for your time tonight. We've got to run along to our next segment.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Yep.
And
Bye-bye.
you know what? I'll tell you, the day that opening day of hunting season, I'll tell you exactly what I shot.
And you'll be in the woods. Good for you, sir.
Can't wait to hear about it. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your summer. We'll talk to you again.
Thanks, George.
Thank you.
You bet.
Bye-bye.
There he goes, Mr. and Mrs. Krog, George Krog.
Funny.
Now the legislation they got that passed.
It's been passed. Yeah.
It's amazing that legislative body got anything passed. But this little thing got passed, and it's an important thing to those people. But
yeah, you bet.
When you talk about deer population numbers, and they weren't offering as many doe tags, and he ended up pulling a buck tag up in that zone, whatever it is, in Two Harbors, and wasn't able to harvest a buck, and just thinks that at 84 he should be able to at least put something in the freezer.
He said he didn't get he hasn't had a permit, or hasn't had a deer in the last 3 years, and he hasn't got the right draw. He's been hunting for 50 years. He's been paying his license for 50 years.
Yeah.
Give the guy a break. I absolutely agree.
But they heard him. He wrote a letter, and they heard him all the way to the top, and it worked all the way down through the system, and then the legislators got involved. I don't know. Who was the legislator on that? It seems to me I knew. Doesn't matter.
Same guy who did the half and half in the coffee cup. No, I have no idea.
All right, George, Mrs. Krog, thank you for being on Ticket Outdoors. And now we're going to move on to Nick, talking about the DNR. Nick Frohnauer, invasive fish river habitat coordinator for the DNR. We're going to talk about those big head carp and invasive species on the rivers.
Join me in the jungle every weekday at 11 a.m. The Jim Rome Show, only on Sports Radio 105 The Ticket.
From the locker room to your radio, tune in the wake-up call from the writers of Cold Omaha every Sunday morning at 8.
Mike Zimmer, who's trying to build a monster.
I think this team is really designed to be an elite defense that can be productive offensively. Bring in good defensive players, get Zimmer what he needs, solidify the defense, make sure that you're not going to get routed in any game.
Zimmer is building a team that can easily win a game if Bridgewater is able to put up 21 points.
The wake-up call with Cold Omaha on Minnesota's Sports Radio 105 The Ticket.
Here's a hint for Father's Day. Fishing gear and Fleet Farm. Give Dad the advantage with the Lowrance Elite 4X Chirp Fish Locator, $158.99. A Zebco Authentic 33 Camo Combo, $29.99. The Genesis 18-volt drill and driver is $19.98. Dad will look good in Carhartt T-shirts. Get 2 for $22.50. And can't decide? Fleet Farm gift cards make great gifts.
The Ticket Outdoors is proud to be a partner with Lakes Trading Company. Why? Because they kick. That's why. Guns to buy, guns to shoot, guns to rent, and the best prices on ammo around. We love Lakes Trading Company because they eat, sleep, and breathe guns just like us. Looking to get a permit to carry class or renew your old permit? Don't be disappointed by a cut-rate instructor. Lakes Trading Company has top-notch instructors and on-site range and meals provided. Lakes Trading Company, off 8th Street in Forest Lake, or online at lakestradingco.com.
If you love love the outdoors, then you probably have a truck that you love too. Custom Truck Accessories can help protect your truck from the rigors of outdoor activities. They have custom seat covers and floor mats to protect against the mud and dirt from the field. Toppers and tonneau covers to protect your gear. If you're a truck guy, you'll appreciate the knowledge and experience of the Custom Truck Accessories crew. Visit CustomTruckAccess.com or stop by their store to see what a difference being family-owned can make for you.
Steve Straczynski here of Coldwell Banker Burnett. It's time, my friend. If you're a Ticket Outdoors fan, then you're also a fan of hunting and fishing. I've got 29 years in real estate licensed in both Minnesota and Wisconsin, and I'll consider it a privilege to help you find that perfect lake home or the 40-acre piece of heaven that's hiding a Boone and Crockett right now. Hey, check me out on Facebook or email stru@stru.com. It's your money. Thanks. And thanks for having fun with us on the Ticket Outdoors.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
All right, and we're back. 5 big head carp captured in the St. Croix River in the past week. That happened just south of Stillwater near the Xcel Energy power plant over there. The furthest up, there's Drew. Let's bring you up.
That's all right.
I think producer Mark Lukey is getting our guest on the line.
You know, everyone knows that I have a lot of fun and I'm off the wall and don't give a rat's ass about a whole lot of stuff. But this is kind of scary. This is big time stuff, and so we got to take this very, very seriously.
Well, there's a push and pull. We hear we're doing better, and then you get this kind of news. This is the furthest upstream invasive carp have been detected on the St. Croix.
Right.
I think they said about 7 miles north of the previous point.
Right.
So we got on the horn. Nick Frohnauer. I hope I said your name right, Nick. Is that right?
That is correct.
Nick, you're the Invasive Fish River Habitat Coordinator for the Minnesota DNR. Is that correct?
Yep, that's true.
That's a big title, Nick. That's a big title.
I'm batting 100 here. So now the big news this week, it's been in a couple of publications. I saw on Outdoor News when they delivered it to the house. There they were, the big head carp up on the St. Croix by the power plant up there.
Yes, they were. The first report came to us at the end of May. Angler reported he had caught a big head carp, and he'd sent a photo along with his email, which was good because we could immediately verify that it was a big head carp and get our invasive carp crew out on the river the same day, in which they caught another one. And then in the following week after that, additional big head carp were caught by anglers.
Nick, you talk about the Minnesota DNR's invasive fish crew and getting them out there. You hadn't, and I know obviously with so many bodies of water, you can't be everywhere all the time, but you had never encountered carp in that area before?
No, we had not. And our crew got up and going really good in 2012, and they're out there and they're using a variety of techniques, and they hadn't actually caught one themselves. Our contract commercial fishermen had caught a couple down at the mouth of the St. Croix, or just above the mouth of the St. Croix last year in Pool 2. So this is actually the first one caught by our DNR carp crew.
Tell us about big head carp. How worried are we about big head carp on the St. Croix?
Well, big head carp are one of 4 species that are commonly referred to as invasive carp. In other states, they're referred to as Asian carp. The other 3 are silver carp, grass carp, and black carp. And the silver and the big head carp are what we call planktivores. They feed on plankton in the water, the microscopic food particles in there that young fish feed on, and then we even have some native planktivores like paddlefish and bigmouth and smallmouth buffalo that also feed on it. So they would compete directly with those fish. In addition, they grow quickly and get real big, and in parts of ecosystems, they may physically crowd out other fish.
Yeah, and I've experienced that on small little rivers and different lakes growing up in South Dakota. Once you got the carp in there, we would literally go down with big fishing nets and just pull them off the shore and just throw them up onto the bank to try and clear out some room a little bit. But they killed a lot of bass habitat out there. Now, how did they end up there? I mean, the DNR, I know you guys are doing things, and we've talked about the fences down in the southeast part of the state, and some
sounds and the music
and stuff, and
who knows
everything you guys are doing. Were you surprised that the carp are already up that far up the St. Croix?
Yeah, yes and no. We've been catching isolated fish. I mean, when I say isolated fish, one fish here and there since 1996. that was the first big head carp that was caught in the state, and it was actually caught, in the St. Croix River about 7 miles downstream. We figured there'd be a day where we'd catch multiple fish. We've been doing a lot of effort with, as you said, the sound and stuff. These fish are long-lived fish. They can live between 10 and 20 years old. So as these fish filter up, they're eventually going to find each other and form up a group. They're a schooling type fish, and this appears to be the case. Whether it was a school that moved into this power plant area or the discharge brought these fish together, it could be either case.
Nick, which one of the carps are the jumping fish? Do we have those up here yet?
Those would be the silver carp, and again, like the big head carp, we've only seen single individuals at one time. Last year, we did catch one up in Pool 2, which is just above the mouth of the St. Croix.
Right.
But it appears that there aren't as many. We haven't seen as many silver carp as we have big carp.
Apparently, this has been going on since the research you guys have been doing has been going on since about 2000. And how come we've never heard of it until 4 or 5 months ago?
Like any issue, it comes and goes as catch a species either in a group or further up the river, but it's always been on the DNR's radar and working on it. Another thing is people didn't really maybe realize the impact these fish could have until the silver carp became that YouTube celebrity. And when you see hundreds of fish jumping, that has an impact.
Have you seen that? Have you actually seen that?
Yes. Before coming to the Minnesota DNR, I worked down in Missouri for the Fish and Wildlife Service on the Missouri River, and I have seen the fish jump. Not quite to the extent that you see in these videos. That's on the Illinois River, but they are impressive.
And that's one thing. Like I said, growing up in South Dakota, carp wasn't anything new. Carp have been moving in and taking over habitat and destroying little small lakes and streams. Or it seemed like more like in the rivers. This isn't anything particularly new. Is there a chance that invasive species can live here and cohabitate with game fish?
That is one possibility. Even carp in this state, there are lakes where they have had large negative impacts. But then there are other lakes where they seem to coexist with the native population just fine.
It seems the nastier the water, then your carp start to show up. Would this have anything to do with the construction in that area around the power plant with the bridge?
It might. The water coming out of the power plant is warmer, so the plankton and the food resources might also be higher there, attracting the fish. When our crew was out there, we not only saw the big head carp, but we caught a large variety of fish, including large sturgeon, buffalo species, catfish, that type of thing.
Nick Frohnauer, invasive fish coordinator for the Minnesota DNR. We're going to take a break. Nick, when we come back, we want to talk a little bit about the anglers that spotted these for you, because when I was on the Minnesota DNR site, I just happened to be on there earlier today. That's a big part of a DNR resource, is the men and women out there fishing. They're kind of on the front lines and making those reports, or sometimes not making those reports. We'll be right back with Nick Frohnauer from the Minnesota DNR on Ticket Outdoors.
Hear Tiki and Tierney weekday mornings starting at 8. I'm Tiki Barber, and you're listening to 105 The Ticket.
Well, Minnesota fishing season is officially here, and it's time to hit your favorite lakes and fishing spots. Boomer here with the Ticket Outdoors, and I want to thank Alumacraft for being our official boat sponsor. I just got off the water with my Alumacraft T-Pro, and boy, do I love the space, storage, and sweet ride on the water. I love Alumacraft because they're made right here in Minnesota, and they're simply the best aluminum boat on the market. For more about Alumacraft, visit your local dealer or go to alumacraft.com.
For Father's Day, get Dad gifts from his favorite store, Fleet Farm. Dad will feel like a king on the Cloud 9 hanging lounge chair, $158.88. The Berkeley Deluxe Electric Filet Knife Kit is $39.99. A DeWalt 20-volt drill driver kit is $99. Dad can do some serious cooking on a Traeger Little Tex Elite Grill, $599.99. And can't decide? Fleet Farm gift cards make great gifts.
Hi, it's Tom with Dan Chesky from Dan's Southside Marine, introducing Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale. The damn thing takes place now, goes through Father's Day, which should take away all of your excuses for not showing up. The perfect time for Dan's Damn Boat Sale at Dan's Southside Marine.
Get great savings on Premier, Alumacraft, and Berkshire boats coming right out of my pocket. Any damn boat you see on the website's for sale, so shop online for any damn boat you want, or come down to the store at 98th and Logan in Bloomington and see him in person. Pretty damn easy, huh?
It's Dan Chesky's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington.
Our dealer incentives and factory rebates will save you a lot, and I will pitch in a few goodies too. So visit our damn website and check out the damn savings.
Everybody's talking about it. Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now through Father's Day at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington, or you can shop online at dansouthsidemarine.com.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
And thank you, Dan Southside Marine. All of our fine sponsors, Fleet Farm, Alumacraft, Lakes Trading Company, and Custom Truck Accessories. Our guest right now, Nick Frohnauer, Invasive Fish River Habitat Coordinator for the Minnesota DNR. And the story this week are those 5 big head carp that were captured on the St. Croix right there by the power plant by some anglers. And Nick, how did they report that? They took some photographs and emailed or called?
60 pounds.
Yeah, the first angler emailed our DNR information line with the picture that, like I said before, we were able to identify it as a big head carp. And then as the information got out, people would either call my number or call the DNR or use the info line also again to report the other fish.
And Nick, talk about how important that is to the Minnesota DNR, because when we first started hearing about invasive species many years ago, and the zebra mussels, and then we saw the YouTube videos with the silver carp, we thought it's the end of the quality of life as we know it. It's going to destroy our Minnesota water here. And then we got a little complacent. Things were being done. We still had game fish each year, so we didn't worry about it so much. But it's important when we're out here doing these fishing and we're catching carp or noticing zebra mussels on lakes that may have not previously been there, that we report these things to the DNR.
Yeah, the DNR only has, limited amount of resources, and for us...
Oh, come on, you guys are filthy rich. Everybody knows that. No, I'm sorry.
That's okay. We have one crew right now, an invasive carp crew that is looking at the Mississippi River and the St. Croix River and parts of the Minnesota River. So that's a large area for them to cover. So we rely on anglers if they spot something out of the ordinary.
You talk about this carp crew, are they like ghost busters? And how do they go about? They drop down from helicopters from how do they go about doing their job?
They do a variety of things. They have an electrofishing boat where they put electricity in the water and shock fish up looking for them that way.
Cool.
They have a variety of nets that they put out there that will look for everything from eggs and larval fish all the way up to the adult fish. And then they're also the crew that goes out with the contract commercial fishermen to observe and help them pull in their nets to see if carp are in their nets too.
It's really easy to determine the difference between a regular carp and a silver carp, and how do you know which one's invasive and which one is not?
It's pretty easy. If you look at the heads of the silver and the big head carp, their eyes are lower set, kind of looking up, and they have more of a silvery or a olive brown color. Common carp tend to be a golden color, but the best way to tell is if you look at the mouth, common carp have a single barbel out of the corner of each side of their mouth, and silver and big head carp do not have that.
Okay.
Nick Frohnauer with the Invasive Fish River Habitat Coordinator for the Minnesota DNR. Now, they caught these, the anglers reported these. You mentioned your invasive carp crew went out there. What did they find?
They were able to capture one additional fish, but then that was all they caught, and they were netting right in the channel, and then they slowly expanded their reach further out from there, all the way up to Taylor's Falls. They looked up in that area too.
And that was catch and release, right? No, I'm just kidding. That was my buddy Mark who said that.
Well, if they're up there, do we concede that now, Nick? Like they're at that area of the St. Croix, then they're probably all the way up past the bridge, and what can be done?
I don't know if their net's necessarily that far. Like I said, I'd like to emphasize, like we had caught one before. Now, obviously, we caught a school here. It might be the only school out there, you know.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not, Nick. Quit BSing us. It's not. It is not. I'm serious about this.
I'm moving to Canada.
No. This is not the tsunami by any means, but I think this is a very, very serious thing, and I think people are taking it lightly. They see these videos of flying fish and people trying to catch them with a net on water skis and all. They think it's fun. This is a big, big deal. If there's 4 or 5 or 6 here caught last week, there's more there.
I'm not arguing that the's more than the 4 or 5, 6 fish caught. There's likely more.
Oh.
The fish
it's your fault, Nick. It's your fault.
It's true as auditioning for 60 Minutes. You'll have to excuse him. It's putting your feet to the heat, Nick. Well, you know, I guess what we're asking here in our weird way is how worried should we be?
There we go.
I think, you know, we should be concerned. The DNR is definitely concerned. Should we be in full-blown panic mode? We're not there yet. We're out there working hard. From what we know of these fish, it requires more than just 2 fish to cause a spawning event. As indicated by the fish that we caught, it was a female. It did have eggs in it. That's the bad news. The good news is the eggs were still in the fish, and we could tell by examining the eggs that it hadn't spawned yet. So
I suppose around that power plant area with that warmer water, would that be a reason to bring them in to spawn?
You know, during the spring, they typically run up rivers, especially with the higher waters that were coming up from the rains previous, and sensing that warmer water probably drew them into that area.
Hey, Nick, let's go back to the beginning. How did they get here?
All 4 species of carp were brought into the United States in the late 60s, early 70s as a solution to problems that occur in aquaculture ponds, whether that's vegetation or algal blooms, as an alternative to chemical solutions.
What could possibly go wrong?
and they do a fairly good job of that.
Let's open the border to Mexico.
Unfortunately, as high water came, they escaped. At the time, people didn't think they would have an impact or could even survive in the United States.
Stupid.
Unfortunately, that was a wrong assumption.
And I think that, I remember 10 years ago here in Minnesota, maybe it was a little bit longer, well, they'll never get this far north. It gets too cold up here in the winter. It'll kill them off. They're going to remain in the southern riverways, but that's not the case. Life finds a way. Somebody in Jurassic Park said that. Jeff Goldblum, I think, probably. Well, Nick Frohnauer, while we've got you on, talk about invasive fish and our river habitat here in the state of Minnesota, let's talk about other invasive species. Zebra mussels are another big one. How goes the battle out there?
I think the DNR is doing a pretty good job at that, too. I can't directly speak to that. That's not my area of expertise.
So you work specifically the Mississippi, the Minnesota River, the rivers?
Yes, I work specifically on carp.
Oh, okay, just carp then. Okay.
Yep, I'm full-time on the carp issue.
All right, Nick, if you had to make a decision right now, what would it be? If you had to say, okay, here's what we're going to do next, what would it be?
I would say our continued monitoring, working with the University of Minnesota at the research center and fine-tuning these acoustic and other potential barrier solutions to slow the fish from getting up there, and making sure that our strong native aquatic community stays strong like it is. Because I think that
is there a more fun invasive species we can bring in to kill the carp?
Water gorillas.
Yeah, something water gorillas. I don't know. Something fun, not just carp, something a little better eating. Although, you know, I have some friends that smoke them, and they say I guess if you smoke anything, it's edible.
Right. You're right. If you smoke anything, it's good. And actually, the flesh on invasive carp is a white, firm flesh that is mild tasting. Not what you commonly think of with with like a common carp. They feed at different levels, so the meat tastes different.
Well, based on this news, Nick, I guess we all better get used to it. No, we're teasing you.
I'm optimistic that we won't get to that point.
We'll talk a little bit about the anglers that are listening to Ticket Outdoors now. That's pretty important when you're out fishing. I mean, we don't want to inundate you with a bunch of calls like, I got a carp out here on Bald Eagle or something like that. When should people report invasive carp to the Minnesota DNR?
Yeah, if I get inundated and I have to say that's not it, that's okay. If it means that one time that we do get one. But it does help if the angler goes out and does research and looks at what these pictures of what these fish look like and how to tell them apart. And so when they do catch one, that they can report it immediately to the DNR.
Yeah, you gave us a little rundown a few minutes ago. Can they go to the Minnesota DNR, and where would they find that on the site where they can, I suppose you could put in probably, carp and Google that, but the ones we're looking for here in the state of Minnesota, silver carp aren't here in Minnesota, right?
Just a couple individuals at this point. We haven't found more than one at any one location.
I think that's the sensational one that spooks everybody. Nobody wants to get knocked out by a carp, paddling down the Mississippi.
In a kayak, so that'll never happen to you. That's okay.
Right. Bring it.
Yeah, people can go to the Minnesota DNR website and look up invasive carp, and there's a page that has the contact information of where to call it in, and information on what the species look like and their impacts on the ecosystem.
Okay, well, Nick, it sounds like you and your crew are on top of things, and we'll encourage our listeners to report things as they catch carp and see carp coming in, and we'll maybe even cross our fingers a little bit.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, Nick, you have a tough job, and we respect what you guys are doing there. I don't think there's an answer, and you're fighting it. We're on your side. It's a tough battle, but we're pulling for you, so keep on plugging, man. Keep on plugging.
Thank you, and all the support that the anglers and our stakeholders give us is greatly appreciated by myself and the DNR.
You bet.
Thanks for taking Ticket Outdoors, Nick. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, good luck out there. Happy carp hunting. Or a bad carp hunting, I guess, as it were. Thank you. Nick Frohnauer with the Minnesota DNR Invasive Fish River Habitat Coordinator against the carp battle. I don't know. I guess I grew up with this in South Dakota, but we certainly don't want to see our water. It was nothing but carp out there. I mean, if we called...
Like common carp, though, right?
Common carp, yeah. We didn't even have different names for them, but they were... I mean, you'd literally scoop out the carp so that maybe you could catch some bullheads or something like that. But they did... the James River was inundated with carp. That drove the pike out and some different things. And I'm a little surprised. And that was 30 years ago. I'm surprised we're just now here in Minnesota. So somebody's done a good job along the way, slowing the progress of these carp because it doesn't take them long. When you talk about around that power plant area, you're getting on the north end of the St. Croix there. You get past the bridge and you've only got another how many miles to go.
Yeah.
It seems to me I don't know how you keep them out of an area. Maybe it's the sonar. These guys seem to know what they're doing, I guess.
A lot of it depends on money as well. The DNR's only got so much money, and how can they keep doing this stuff and trying to prevent things from happening?
Yes, I guess they'll need more money.
Yeah, you can donate.
Money. I'll take my $15 from the trivia contest.
There you go.
I'll give it to the DNR.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, gang, when we come back, Boomer, is it time? Wow, the clock is just spinning around on us tonight. We've got Boomer with his lake report somewhere out there frolicking and having a good time on Ticket Outdoors.
Burrell and events. Tune in every weeknight at 9 in the Twin Cities. Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
On Deck Radio with Pete Wagner and former Twins Gene Larkin and Al Newman.
When it comes tryout time, how busy is your facility a week before? Because kids think that they can put in just a week worth of practice and make a ball club.
You're competing against your teammates for playing time. Yeah, the camaraderie for a team is essential to have fun, but you're also competing with your guy in practice.
Tune in On Deck Radio, Saturday mornings at 11. Wall-to-wall baseball talk on Sports Radio 105 The Ticket.
Here's a hint for Father's Day, fishing gear and Fleet Farm. Give Dad the advantage with the Lowrance Elite 4X Chirp Fish Locator, $158.99. A Zebco Authentic 33 Camo Combo, $29.99. The Genesis 18-volt grill and driver is $19.98. Dad will look good in Carhartt t-shirts. Get 2 for $22.50. And can't decide? Fleet Farm gift cards make great gifts.
The Ticket Outdoors is proud to be a partner with Lakes Trading Company. Why? Because they kick. That's why. Guns to buy, guns to shoot, guns to rent, and the best prices on ammo around. We love Lakes Trading Company because they eat, sleep, and breathe guns just like us. Looking to get a permit to carry class or renew your old permit? Don't be disappointed by a cut-rate instructor. Lakes Trading Company has top-notch instructors and on-site range and meals provided. Lakes Trading Company, off 8th Street in Forest Lake, or online at lakestradingco.com.
If you love the outdoors, then you probably have a truck that you love too. Custom Truck Accessories can help protect your truck from the rigors of outdoor activities. They have custom seat covers and floor mats to protect against the mud and dirt from the field. Toppers and tonneau covers to protect your gear. If you're a truck guy, you'll appreciate the knowledge and experience of the Custom Truck Accessories crew. Visit CustomTruckAccess.com or stop by their store to see what a difference being family-owned can make for you.
Hi, it's Tom with Dan Chesky from Dan's Southside Marine, introducing Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale. The damn thing takes place now, goes through Father's Day, which should take away all of your excuses for not showing up. The perfect time for Dan's Damn Boat Sale at Dan's Southside Marine.
Get great savings on Premier, Alumacraft, and Berkshire boats coming right out of my pocket. Any damn boat you see on the website's for sale, so shop online for any damn boat you want, or come down to the store at 98th and Logan in Bloomington and see them in person. Pretty damn easy, huh?
It's Dan Chesky's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington.
Our dealer incentives and factory rebates will save you a lot, and I will pitch in a few goodies too. So visit our damn website and check out the damn savings.
Everybody's talking about it. Dan's Big Damn Boat Sale going on now through Father's Day at Dan's Southside Marine, 35W and 98th Street in Bloomington, or you can shop online at dansouthsidemarine.com.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105.
I want to thank our guest tonight, Johnny Johnson, Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association, Mark Lukey, our guest tonight.
Funny.
And also Nick Fronauer, invasive fish river habitat coordinator. That's something I think you get pretty excited about. And the next day you're like, we're fine. There's no carp around here. Let's bring it. I don't know, Boomer, you probably didn't have a chance to listen to that. Boomer, welcome back to Ticket Outdoors.
Hey, guys. How's it going in Minnesota tonight?
Going very well, buddy. And I know you're busy. You're out enjoying some leisure time. This is a true vacation for you. So I'm guessing you didn't get a chance to probably listen to any of the show tonight. We had Nick Fronauer with the Minnesota DNR, and he tracks, along with his invasive carp crew, the carp in the Minnesota riverways. And the news this week, 5 big head carp were captured in the St. Croix over there by the power plant, which is about 7 miles further north than they've ever pulled any carp out of the water. So he was talking about that, the carp spreading up the St. Croix River.
Well, I tell you, I did get to tune into it for a little bit, and I couldn't tell if he was making a case that smoked carp are good to eat, but I'm going to stick with boiled walleye.
Yeah, right. No, absolutely.
Zeb says no.
I said, maybe we better get used to the taste, but anything smoked.
Now, who won the contest, Zeb? Because there were some questions going back and forth, and I didn't know exactly what went on air, but I was really curious between you and Strewman who won the quiz.
I jumped out to an early lead, but the old boy, he finished strong.
Marriage and Bliss is in the lead.
Yep, he got me at the end. Strew.
I got your money. Yep. I got your money, Boomer.
It's your money. Well, guys, it is that time of year. I know it was fun to do a quiz, and I know there were some questions about, how many pounds was the biggest muskie, which was probably about 70, and the walleye about 17 pounds. But it is starting to get into some of those what we might call dog days of summer. And some
are we already there, you think?
Well, you know what? We've had some pretty warm temps. I don't think we're there yet, but I think it's time, if you're going to start chasing those walleyes this time of year, they're going to be a little more spaced out, and it's time to kind of move around the water and find where those groups of walleyes are biting. So I want to talk to our listeners a little bit about that, a couple techniques they can do to kind of search the lake out a little bit. And then we're going to jump into a lake that's a favorite of mine that I did get a really awesome lake report from Lake Osaka Guide Service, which is up near Alexandria, because the walleyes are starting to pop there. But if you're going to start chasing walleyes this time of year, I'd really recommend on focusing on the mornings and the evenings, because we are going to start to get into those warmer temps. and we're going to have, some better sunlight, and the walleyes are going to start to go deeper during the day. But I always like to start off running crankbait, guys. Troll them at about 1.5 miles to 2.5 miles an hour, put on a Hornet or whatever you want to use, and kind of run around the lake, look for some of those weed lines, those shelf patterns, and where you start to get a couple hits, mark those waypoints on your graph or GPS. And if you start to see a trend, that's where I'd start to narrow in with maybe a bobber with a leech on it or a worm. Those walleyes are going to be spread out right now, and they're going to be during the deeper water during the day because of the sunlight. So you really got to look for those patterns. Another popular thing you can do to run around the lake is use like a 2-hook worm harness, and you control about, 0.3 or 0.5 miles an hour. Popular, blade colors on that's going to be maybe a gold or a silver. And that's just another way that maybe you could kind of work some of those flats, where maybe then when you start to get a couple hook sets, and you necessarily don't have to get to the fish, but if you get a couple hook sets, that's where you guys can start to mark those waypoints and then start to kind of slow down your roll and start to throw the bobber out with a jig and a minnow or a jig and a leech.
Hey, Boom, Zep complimented you earlier tonight because he was fishing on White Bear Lake for smallies, fishing from shore. And he was fishing with a night crawler, and he said, I listened to Boomer, and he's talking about changing depth. And all of a sudden he went deeper, like, 4 or 5 feet, and what happened?
Well, I did. And I decided I was going to stop and get some minnows, actually. And I thought, just on a whim, I'm just going to get some night crawlers. I'm just going to get my little pint of night crawlers here and go out. And I put some splitters on it, about a 4-hook. And I just decided to drag it slow along the bottom, like I might a plastic or something like that. And I decided to go a little deeper because it's getting warmer, and we're post-spawn. And I learned all that listening to Boomer.
Yeah.
And by God, they started grabbing onto that thing.
Well, I tell you what, Zepp, I'm pretty proud of you. I'll give you a high five through the phone. And it's still a special time of year if you want to chase some of those smallies. Some of those smallmouths still might be on bed. When I was up at the Alumacraft shoot, we found a lot of those smallies still on beds. And if you're, out there on the water and things aren't popping and it's during the day, go to some of the rocky parts of the lake where it's going to be maybe a little shallower if they're going to be on bed. And look where the rock is kind of torn up a little bit, like where it's a whiter color. And if you do happen to see a smallie on a bed, boy, are they aggressive this time of year when they're protecting those beds. Throw on a little jig, maybe an 1/8 ounce to a 1/16 ounce, maybe a little hair jig. And all you have to do, guys, is get that anywhere near that bed, and that smallie's going to come at it like the old WWF wrestler, like Bam Bam Bigelow, and just go crazy and attack it.
Do a body slam on it.
Fun.
Oh, yeah. Now, one of my favorites this time of year, guys, is we talked about it ice fishing for pan fishing a lot, but in June, Lake Osakis is a really good walleye resource for our fisheries. And it's only about 2 hours northwest of the city, so it's not a bad drive for our listeners to get up there. Scott Merwin, he's been giving me some tips on and off. I can't wait to get on the lake with him with Lake Osakis Guide Business, but he just texted me, guys, literally 2 minutes before the show started and said, yep, we just got another limit. So Scott shared some of his secrets that I want to talk to our listeners about.
Yeah, that's
Mornings and evenings have been the best time on Osakis. But if you want to get out there and start to chase these walleyes in the morning on Osakis, you better get your butt out of bed pretty early, because Scott's telling me that you got to be out on the water about 5 a.m. So, Stu, I don't know if you would be able to do that.
I can do that. I'll bring my golf clubs at the same time.
and maybe you'd and warm up with a soda pop before you grabbed a rod and reel. But if you can get out there between 5 and 8 a.m., the walleyes are biting pretty good on Osakis. They're having good luck working the break lines, and they're actually rigging a shiner. And notice, guys, I didn't say jigging. I said rigging. And what they're doing is they're Lindy rigging a shiner. So they're using that traditional Lindy rig, which we know, Mark, is Drew's favorite little technique.
That's right.
And they're using about a 2 to 4 foot lead, and they're hooking that shiner right through the mouth, and they're going really slow, like 0.2 to 0.4 miles an hour. So again, if you're on Osakis early between about 5 and 8 a.m., Lindy rig a shiner, put that lead on it between 2 to 4 feet, hook it through the mouth, and you're going to have some luck. Now, when 8 a.m. starts to roll around, and Zeb, you talked about it where you went a little deeper for some of the smallies that you were chasing that were off a bed, the walleyes are going to start to move a little deeper as well, and they're going to start to be a little lazier. they're running a harness with a crawler, and they're running that really slow. And one of the tricks to that is you want to get that worm up off the bottom. You don't want that worm right on the bottom. We always talk about that when you mark those hook sets on your graph or GPS. You don't want to have your presentation right on top of that fish. You want to have it about 6 inches to a foot above it. So a trick that you can do is you can buy like a little syringe or one of those little needles that blow air and blow some air into your worm, and that's going to help that thing float about a foot off the bottom.
Huh.
I've done it.
And last but least, if you're going to stick out there the entire day on Osakis, after about 7 p.m., that evening bite's going to kick in, and that's when they're trying to go and they're going to start rigging with leeches, where you're going to use a Lindy rig, you're going to use a 2 to 4 foot lead on that, and you're just going to have some good luck. And again, when you start to see that pattern with the leeches, what you're going to want to do is slow it down, stop, throw a bobber out with a leech, keep that leech about a foot off the bottom is what Scott was telling me, and you're going to have some good luck. Now, one thing just to kind of keep in mind is the difference between your technique with a shiner in the morning and a leech in the evening is going to be a little different on the hook set. Because as you guys know, Stu, when we were up on Bowstring that one day, or Mark, when we were hooking into those walleyes on Traverse, you typically feel the thump with a walleye with a jig and a minnow, right? And then you set the hook pretty quickly.
Yep.
With a leech, the walleyes are going to be a little more lazy with their bite. Not all the time. You know, I have had it where they pound a leech and you set the hook right away. But typically with that leech, you're going to start to feel some dead weight. And so what I like to do is once I start to feel that dead weight with the leech and I'm rigging it, I'm going to let my rod tip go behind me about a foot or two and just let them suck it in a little bit before you set that hook and then bring it up. And if you're using a 2 to 4 foot snell or a lead, one thing to be careful of is we all get excited when we get those first couple fish and we reel in, right? You want to keep your rod tip up and you're reeling in and you're really excited. Well, you got to be a little careful with that. You're going to want to be using a little longer net, or you're going to want to have a net man on the other side of the boat. That way you're not bringing the reel all the way up and that metal piece hits the top of your rod and then the walleye snaps the hook.
How about if I have a net woman? How is that possible?
Or you could have a net woman like beautiful Diana and you'd be in a really good place.
She actually uses her fish net.
Yeah, she does. Yeah. Hey, Boom, you teased me a little bit about early mornings and whatnot, but I tell you what, some of my favorite memories are early morning, 6 o'clock in the morning with my dad at Armstrong Lake up near Ely, thermos full of coffee and watching the sunrise. I tell you what, it's the best time in the world. I think it's the best time in the world to be in the water.
The boat had to be hitting the water in the dark.
Yeah.
I tell you what, there is something special about being there early in the morning because it's not so hot. And you get to kind of soak it in with that cup of coffee. And again, the morning bite this time of year can be some of the specialists that you can have. Now, I'm really excited, guys, because the bite on Devils is continuing to stay hot. And we're going to actually be taking the Alumacraft T-Pro up there. And when are the dates, Marky? We're going to be up there, July 27th, 28th, and 29th?
Yep, we're all set.
Yep, and I think, guys, we've actually had some listeners that have started to message me, and I think we're going to have a little bit of a group of fishing guys and girls that are going to go up there with the Ticket Outdoors on Devil's Lake. Stay at Woodland, soak it in, and we're really hoping, Zepp, that we can get Strewman or Marky into one of those, infamous 8 to 10 pound Devil's Lake gold walleye.
Well, wouldn't that be amazing?
Yes, it would be fun.
A nice pick.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Boom, that's it, buddy. We got to get you got to get back to your vacation. We got to cut you loose.
All right, guys. Well, tight lines and good hook sets. And again, don't be afraid to kind of move around this time of year because those walleyes are starting to go deeper as the temps start to warm up. And Lake Osakis guide service out there, they're on them. June is a good time. And if you're looking for walleyes, it's only about 2 hours northwest of the cities, and they got a friendly slot limit. So that's where I'd be going this time of year to chase walleyes if I was in the cities.
Oh, enjoy yourself, Boomer. Thank you for the lake report, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good, guys. See ya.
There he goes, Boomer. Mark Lukey, our producer, Strewman, the wild card. We'll catch you on Ticket Outdoors next Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, right here.
For Father's Day, get Dad gifts from his favorite store, Fleet Farm. Dad will feel like a king on the Cloud 9 hanging lounge chair, $158.88. The Berkeley Deluxe Electric Filet Knife Kit is $39.99. A DeWalt 20-volt drill driver kit is $99. Dad can do some serious cooking on a Traeger Little Tex Elite Grill, $599.99. And can't decide? Fleet Farm gift cards make great gifts.
Love it.